It's powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.
Nice.
Matt McMaster of Middays with Matt and Josh Hodson, welcome to the show.
Also of Middays with Matt.
No, he's just of 1620 The Zone.
Oh, wow. I superseded
that
Middays
man
with Matt.
is just in the fabric of 1620.
I got my hands in that thing.
And I'm not in the fabric.
No, I'm
and I
not
are in the sheets.
We're not. He might be 1620 The Zone.
Wow.
Oh,
okay. High honor.
Who is the face of 1620 The Zone? Or the voice? We are all the voice.
Oh, okay. So
It's probably Bishop, right?
Yeah, it's Bish.
He's
It's
the
totally
longest
Bish.
tenured.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's just I've told this story. Like every time I go to a bar and I tell people where I work, they immediately go, "Oh my God, you know John." And I'm
See,
like,
that's got to be an Omaha thing.
That's
No.
never happened.
that's
To
big
me.
time for me. Big time. Because I talk to a lot. I meet a lot of people who grew up listening to the Jays on the radio.
Mm.
And so like they love Creighton basketball and they listen to it on the radio. So they
You do be talking to people.
I love talking to people at times.
There's a commercial. This is great because I probably would never have been able to get to this otherwise
Sure. This
There's
would
a
actually just be
commercial.
me and you talking.
without being yelled at for talking.
Yes.
Which is the weirdest thing that happens every time. Like,
You're-
I can tell he's not in a good mood because we're about to get yelled at for having.
Oh, big time. He's like, it's
You
not.
guys are talking.
He's not. He's gonna come in tomorrow and he's gonna be like, it's not that I don't like that you guys talk. You have to talk, but it's just like there's a lot of chit chat.
I did look up after the second time that came up to see if I could buy one of those things they hold up at golf events that say silence.
Every time Connor's
Or
about
quiet,
to make.
and
Every
then-
time Connor's
Then
about
he
to
can
make
just
it,
raise the paddle.
we just put the paddle
No,
up.
he could just raise the paddle when he needs it, and then we know. But no, I saw this commercial and it made me think of you.
Oh, great.
And there's a guy at the bar,
Yeah.
and he's sitting up at the bar, and there's hockey on. And this other guy comes up and he's like, "Why is everyone so excited about playoff hockey?" And this guy turns around and looks at him, and he just goes into this whole avalanche, no pun intended,
Nice.
of why playoff hockey is so great.
Yeah.
And then that guy's wife or girlfriend comes from somewhere and is like, "Why is everyone so excited about playoff hockey?" And then it just passes on.
Yeah.
And it made me think about how this must just be you at a bar being excited about playoff hockey in Nebraska.
Good
Where
point.
most people probably aren't really locked in, but someone might come up and ask you about it.
Yeah, I've been going to a sport. I found a sport bar that is great for me because it's just like when I'm out just drinking to drink, right? When I just go out with my friends, I am Mr. Social Butterfly. Totally cool with it. When I'm out at a sport bar, I don't want to talk. Like I just want to be silent.
You found a bar that gives you the remote control. Now,
Yes, I
Did you?
have.
Okay, I had that
I
correct.
have.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that bar closed down.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry
there
for your loss.
There was one time though that at that bar they
That's
had a
probably why they gave you the remote.
they had a new worker, and I was like, "Oh, can you like change the channel?" And she was like, "Oh," and she was like kind of fumbling. I go, "Just give it to me." And she gave me the iPad, and I typed in the code to get into the iPad, and she was stunned that I knew like how to access the system. And then I was just like, and then I started training her on it. I was training the new workers on
There
how to
you
use
go.
their TVs. It was a great bar.
Look at that.
It was terribly run. It was so poorly run.
Oh yeah, they're just giving the
RIP.
iPad out.
Dude, it was a mess, that bar, which is why I'm not surprised in the slightest that it closed down.
There's it's kind of a sports bar in the Blackstone area that you would miss it if you just aren't sort of looking for it. It
Yeah,
kinda
yeah,
sits off to the side. I've been there a couple times for things. I think that'd be a great place to go because it feels like there's not that many people there.
Yeah.
And so and they have good TV setup. They have good TVs, comfortable seating.
I found two. One of them I go for the Guinness, and then the other one I don't want to give out. I'll give out
You don't
to
want
you.
people to come find you.
I think, but like, I think if I were to say it on the air, everyone would be like, "Of course
That seems like a great promotion. Hyde and McMaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, those bits where people hide money around
Yeah,
town
yeah.
and have to find
No,
it are real
seriously.
big on social media.
Like you should get it set up with like a distribution rep or something that if people come up to you at various
Yeah.
bars and they say whatever it is, like set up some sort of code for this,
Yeah.
then you have the ability to purchase them this beer that
No.
would then ultimately be paid back by the distribution.
Oh, by the
people.
distribution company?
Yeah, not by
okay.
you.
Yeah. I would do
But
that.
you'd have to
That'd be great.
file it, and there'd have to be some sort of thing.
I would love to be the Carmen
Or they give
Sandiego.
you some sort of card that you can hand to the bartender where it's
Like,
it's then taken care of by this people.
I
love this idea.
I hand the card and they're like, how did you
go,
get
Matt?
this? No, I would love to be the sport bar drinking version of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. That definitely does sound like something that I would love
like
doing.
the first person, and it's only one, so it's not like a buddy could show up like 8 other people and you have to buy them all beers. But the first person that comes up to you at any establishment in Omaha that would be supported by this beverage,
yeah, it would be great.
You'd just be able to like show the card, you get them their drink.
A great exposure for me as well.
Yeah,
it's just like
this is great.
You're like, oh my god, on Twitter,
We're
I saw
having
that
work meetings on air now.
Exactly. I love that. Like, there could be the possibility that I snap a picture that I'm somewhere, and then people are like, we have to find this man for a free beer. It's like, honey, we're supposed to go to this bar, but McMaster's in the area.
There's areas in this state that have very specific Nebraska football. I was going to say iconography, but I don't know if that's the right.
I don't know that word. I just learned what zeitgeist is, though.
Very specific imagery. You know imagery.
I do know imagery. Yeah,
so like
I am familiar. Imagery and I go way back. Actually.
So there's like a mural in David City of Corey Schlesinger scoring a touchdown.
Okay.
Or there, things of that nature.
Sure.
That often when I'm out and about in the state that isn't Lincoln or Omaha, and I see this sort of stuff, I just like to take a picture of it and then post it.
Yeah.
And then immediately people are like, "You're right here. You're right here.
Yeah.
You're at this barn that has a picture, has a weather vane that has Herbie Husker on it. That's between Rising City and Columbus.
You're at Wolf's Run, or like every
you can do that.
Every small town Nebraska town, every town that I've been to that was considered small town Nebraska has had one restaurant where they make an awesome burger. Like, they make an awesome burger, an awesome ribeye, and they're all named animal and then either a verb or a noun. Like it's Pig's Place or Wolf's Tavern or Chicken's Run.
You wouldn't get that in Columbus. They don't have that.
They don't have that.
But when we
There's
go,
always,
we're gonna go. We're gonna go this.
We're
summer.
gonna go. We are going.
We're gonna go to the horse races, and then we're gonna go get to the taco truck.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
It remains to be seen whether we stay in Columbus or we just make our way.
I'm just gonna let you. Like, I'm gonna be real.
Yeah,
I'll
be the Sherpa.
I'm gonna be the passenger princess. I can't wait. I cannot
have a
wait.
good time. You'll have a good time.
I'm gonna send all of my Austin and I have a new bit where we send each other a gas station.
What time are you done most days?
2:30.
We might do this on a weekend.
That'd be great.
Because that way we can
not do
golf
anything
in Columbus.
I would, dude. I mean,
we'll just make a day of it.
I mean, I might marry you. I mean, you're gonna take me golfing. You're gonna take me golfing into horse racing. Are you kidding me? It's God.
We don't need to be married. I just do this with people. People that like horse racing. Columbus has live horse racing.
I'm mad at you.
Go back.
I'm mad at you.
Why?
Because you didn't do the Derby sim of the day.
Oh, yeah,
what the hell?
Thing.
We are going to do a Derby sim of the day.
Why would I take something that's exclusively yours?
I went to the Nino yesterday and I picked up my reading material.
Okay.
Yeah, I picked up about.
Do you feel better about potentially taking on Connor?
No, I don't. Because now I'm in the phase right now where I'm falling in love with horses irrationally. Like, and I'm also too at the
bar is about to close.
Yeah,
you're looking for a mate.
Closing
time. Go about.
No, I know, but like that's the thing. I'm trying to win, and it's like I'm letting the fact that I wanted Forever Young, the Japanese horse, to win the Kentucky Derby so badly, and I placed a lot of money on that horse, and they didn't win. I'm now trying to like make up for it by betting another Japanese horse, even though. Like, but that Japanese horse statistically is better than the last time I bet a Japanese.
Look, I understand when there was a horse that was named Journalism. I really wanted that horse to win.
That was a great horse,
and it didn't.
Twice, he got beat out twice.
I accept that Journalism just isn't going to be the same, even had the horse.
But Journalism is probably a good 14 inches away from being one of the best horses in recent memory.
Well,
I mean, they barely got beat out in both the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. I do.
Nobody
if I'm not
who finishes second in the Kentucky Derby.
No, not really.
Or the Preakness.
I am curious. The real, the true true bred horse racing fans. I think the Belmont isn't going to be 1.5 miles this year, again. Which it's going to be hard to say that person is a Triple Crown champion if they don't run 1.5 miles Belmont. Because that's the entire point, right? It's the graveyard of speed horses. But I'm very excited. So I'm right now Tuesdays I'm falling in love with horses, and then Thursday I'll snap out of it and I'll be like, I'm here to win. And then Saturday I'm gonna re-fall in love with those horses and bet them.
Okay.
And probably lose. That's typically what happens. But
How
we're
many
doing
total bets do you anticipate that you will make? More
so
or less than Brendan's
I'll just
horses?
reveal it. So I will have I'm gonna
right by.
I have $80 for the Kentucky Derby, specifically
You have
on the Derby.
earmarked money for your betting.
I have $80 for the Derby, and then
Gotta set your limits.
and then $50 for the rest of the races that will happen throughout the day. And so I'll probably only bet like win, play, show, maybe do an exacta or two on any of the previous 11 races before the Derby. And then if I win any money from the $50, I probably will parlay it into either going to the blackjack tables or betting more in the Kentucky Derby.
So,
But when the Derby is over, when they cross that finish line, I am done gambling for the day. I will be finished.
Oh,
you won't
there
bet
will-
on the playoffs or the Stanley Cup
No,
playoffs?
I'll be done. No, I
or
100
those two
a
weirdo
random
races
baseball
after the
game.
Derby.
$130.
Those are very popular.
What
Yeah.
If you're at the Derby, the races after the big one.
there's only I believe there's 2 races after.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Because you're chasing, right?
Yes, and I just there's something about those where it's like people just it was very loud.
Let's keep it going.
The energy because the Derby had just finished up
Uh-huh.
when I was there. The energy after it was just like people were ready to go.
Yeah.
And then you knew what was about to happen in Louisville the rest of the night. So it was a super unique event. And then the experience I had with being in a 3-floor suite where everything was paid
It's
for.
so sick.
And
Whoa.
a gambling machine was on every floor, so you didn't have to go far to get your bet in.
That's awesome.
I can't ever go back.
Yeah.
So really.
Yeah, I you know what, that happened to me with Cubs games because we went to the 1914 club where it's like you're 2 rows behind home plate and
Mm.
everything is there for you, and you're like, oh, there's Ryan Sandberg's walking around. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
It's maybe a little different with something like that because
But
like
RIP.
a baseball game, you could always see something or go somewhere.
Yeah, but at that point, the next time I went to a game
It
and
was gonna be
I
less
was
than,
I was
yeah.
hot in the bleachers and I was sweating my ass off,
I could see that.
and I have to pay $24 for a beer, and it's another
Is
$9
that the
for
most that you paid for a beer?
I think it's 21.
We were
21.
discussing this yesterday because that was one of
Oh,
the
great
promos.
question. Great question.
I think mine is like somewhere between 22 and 25 for
So,
a singular beer.
Yeah, one beer.
Not like a bucket,
Wow.
just like an individual. And mine was like a pint somewhere.
So Nashville and Vegas are like the 2 spots that I get told the most that those are like you pay so
Nashville's
much for a
not
beer.
bad. Really not.
My friends are going to the wrong places in Nashville. So
They're going where?
they're going to the wrong places in Nashville, it sounds like. But Vegas, it's like you hear all the
There
time.
are no wrong places in Nashville.
I know you love Nashville.
Nashville's amazing.
Oh.
It was more amazing when it was probably less
Touristy. Yeah.
which is wild because it's not like I'm not from there.
Is
but
Louisville good? Because people have told me that Louisville
It's
is like
fine.
now a
I
little
would-
bit more
would-
quiet Nashville.
I would be excited to go back if
Sure.
that's where Nebraska played like an NCAA tournament game. That's one of the sites next year. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But it's not like I will probably never go out of my way to go to Louisville again.
Okay.
I had a
Oh,
friend that lived there.
good to
That's how
know.
I ended up at the Derby. He no longer lives there. And so like I just don't,
Yeah.
I've
I've become
Nashville, I would go back. If someone's like, hey, do you want to go to Nashville? And I financially have no reason to say no.
you'll
and
go.
I will go. It is,
Yeah.
my
It's-
company was based out of there. We went there
Yeah.
for conferences and stuff. I had my drove around the country writing about railroads. I had
I know.
an account there.
That's great.
Like I love Nashville.
So I have some news to share.
Important news.
I watched The Sixth Sense last night.
Whoa,
Matt.
you are a movie man now.
Wow.
In one whole sitting,
Look at you.
hour and 44-minute movie, I believe. Watched the entire Sixth Sense.
Did you know the ending before?
I knew there was a twist,
Okay.
Well, it's an M. Night Shyamalan.
but I did not know what, and I was getting real. I don't like infidelity in movies. I don't know why it bothers me.
Interesting.
I can't tell you why.
So this Vrabel Rossini thing.
Well, no. Well, I'm talking about in movies. I don't know. It just I can't explain it. I
Okay.
just never liked.
Okay.
Henceforth, I don't watch a lot of Bateman movies. But anyway, I'm sitting there.
That's why he notices. it.
Yeah.
I know, it's one of the most astute things he's ever pointed out.
I wish it was about sports. not
Well,
not
I
Bateman.
can't make it be more astute.
Thank you.
You
That's a good
happen to
point.
have a moment.
Thank you, Simmons. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm getting pissed at Bruce Willis. I'm like, you got this beautiful wife. You know, she loves you so much. She's clearly tempted to like cheat on you. Like, talk to her, you know? Like, you're being a bad husband. Like, why don't you, the scene in the shower? Like, go in the shower, or like, be or do something. Like,
Make a move.
yeah, exactly. Like, you're so upset that your wife won't talk to you anymore, but like you can lead, you can do it, dude. Like, you could go. And so I'm like getting mad. And then, like, the whole thing where she almost kisses the dude at the diamond store, and then the rock breaks, and I'm like, you can go in. So I'm getting pissed off at Bruce Willis. And then, yeah, at the, when Cole is like, when the big reveal happens, I was stunned. I was shocked. I flipped out of my seat.
You audibly make a noise.
I did. I was like, he's dead the whole time. That's what I
seeing
said.
this in theaters and being like gobsmacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wool could be pulled over my, and I was in middle school, so obviously I was dumb.
Yeah.
And easily could have things fool you, but you're at that stage in your life where you think you're really smart and you can't be tricked by things.
No, it was one of those things where it's like they did a great job of having like thrilling.
I'm amazed that you never had that spoiled for you.
No, never.
I'm
once.
really happy.
Yeah.
That you, because I think that movie on that list, it's another one where I just had like, oh yeah, that's like something that I think is worth seeing.
It's the
what did roommate Dan think?
Well, it was his second time watching.
Okay.
So was he bored?
No, he actually told me he had more fun watching it the second time than he did the first time.
I've never watched it since seeing it in theaters.
Yeah,
there are clues along the way if you rewatch it.
He was explaining to me how he was hinted at, but never really truly noticed how nobody talks to Bruce except for Cole the entire movie. Now, I did ask. I was like, why wasn't Cole afraid of Bruce? Because Cole is like afraid of everybody else. And Dan was like, I just think he's a good psychologist. Like, he's a good doctor. That's probably why that wasn't well, the
there's
case.
there's no obvious indication.
Oh, that he,
the way that there would be with other ones,
like the burn victim and the kid who got shot.
The burn victim stuck with me after that.
Yeah, you know what? I've watched The Dark Knight so many times that it's just like that. Two-Face is just kind of like,
but I was like 12.
Good point. Two-Face did screw me up for a little bit when I first saw him back. I saw that movie.
You were like 8.
I was like younger than that. My dad should not have brought me to that.
You had no idea that Aaron Eckhart was a good-looking man. You just assumed,
dude. But he is a. I bring that up all the time. Honestly, like whenever people are like, "Who would you cast for this type of movie?" Anytime there's just a generic white guy, I think Aaron Eckhart.
That you need a butt chin for.
I think honestly, it's like if I was making my dream like governmental movie, he would be the president every single.
He's got a presidential face.
I mean, he was in. He's the president in The Angel Has Fallen and the.
Well, then he can't do it. You can't have him be a president twice.
I think he's been a president in 2 different movies.
Well, that's a mistake. It's like being a football coach in 2 different movies.
Well, I would say 3 is kind of the mark.
3? I think.
Well, same thing with football coaches.
If you're a football coach in 1, it's impossible to not see.
Oh, you're talking about an actor. Oh,
okay, yeah. It's if
I thought you were talking about actual football coaches.
If Kyle Chandler, Coach Taylor, is a coach in something else, I'm only going to see him as Coach Taylor.
Great question. Can Samuel L. Jackson ever be a coach again in a movie?
Because of Coach Carter?
Yeah.
No, because he's like 1,000,000 years old.
Okay, but
he only makes stupid commercials and is Nick Fury.
Okay, good point.
It's hard to see him in a role that actually has consequences.
Could Kurt Russell be a coach right now?
I don't think so.
I think he could, because I think he looks so much different than when he was Herb Brooks.
Yeah, maybe. And if it's a different sport, would probably help.
Kevin Costner has been a coach and a GM in his acting career.
Kevin Costner does whatever he wants. Rules don't apply to Kevin Costner.
Movies
don't necessarily even matter.
Kevin Costner has quite a bit of range in terms of the types of characters he's been. He's been a sociopathic rancher. He's been a bad general manager. Just a terrible general manager.
his movies are almost all similar in that it's him standing up against a crowd of people or opposition. Like it's a
great point.
typecast that once you recognize it, it's sort of in there in everything that he
So
does.
we are getting very close to another typecast here of Mark Ruffalo always being the civil servant. He is always, he's either like the cop or in Spotlight, he's the journalist, and he's like normal.
We gotta nail these scumbags.
Yeah, like
You
normal
haven't even talked about
guy.
the movie with the water or whatever. It
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
That one's great.
Oh, Blackwater.
Yeah,
I've
something
seen.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So
I
he was
really like him.
So he was that in that movie. He was the journalist in Spotlight.
But
he,
you know why this is the case, right? He's a very social conscious, like this matters. to
yeah.
him.
But
So he's
in,
now purposely picking out these roles.
in Crime 101, though, the new movie
I
with
haven't
Chris
watched that.
Hemsworth, it's okay.
I watched that. Yeah,
he's
it was
the
okay.
he's the police guy.
Other movies have done it better.
I finally watched the Knives Out, the third one. I finally
Okay.
got to it.
Oh,
I
what'd you
love the
think?
first one. I liked the second one. The third one felt like it was too long. Like they
Yes.
could have it could have been shorter. We didn't need as much exposition. I also didn't think the ensemble was as interesting or entertaining as what we had with the other one.
That scene though, when they reveal the Monsignor meeting. You know?
Oh yeah.
But like the thing is that
Well, Josh Brolin's great. So
it was a little bit like, okay, I was stunned after the first one. I was like, wow, I didn't see I didn't see that coming, you
Mhm.
know? And then you feel like an idiot because it's like they kind of did present Chris Evans' character as like he's obviously the bad guy. The second movie, I was like, this is great. Like this was in terms of the mystery, mystery. I wasn't really taken aback by the mystery in the third movie. Like I
think
wasn't
the mystery
really
took a
stunned.
backseat to sort of its social preaching throughout the rest of that movie.
I couldn't agree more.
Which, whether I agreed with it or not,
It
it
had-
was just more ham-fisted than probably what they intended for.
I agree. But I'm not going. That's the thing. I'm not going to that movie. You can go to certain movies if you want to see that type of that type of message. I don't watch that mystery movie for that message.
I
think
don't
is the
care
best
that it
way
has
of
the
saying it.
message. I just thought like it was so
I'm not
overt.
seeking it out though.
Yeah, it sort of took away from everything else.
I
I mean, I
agree.
still, if they made
It's-
another one of those movies, I'm still gonna watch.
Oh, I'm
it.
gonna go.
Like I'm just in on the character.
Yep.
I'm in on the.
I got a feeling.
I know
though,
you haven't, Josh. Have you watched the show that Ryan Johnson does on Peacock with whatever her face is? The show is Poker Face.
Yeah.
I can't think of what her name is, but that show is pretty good. It's basically like a murder mystery in 45 minutes
Natasha
for
Lyonne.
every episode.
Mhm.
So it's a
I have
similar
not
kind of
watched it.
thing. It's fun.
I don't think I will ever not watch a Daniel Craig Ryan Johnson mystery movie. I don't know. Like I just think
I think I'm just in on Daniel Craig in general.
yeah.
He's
Less
my
on
favorite
Ryan.
Bond. I don't really care about Ryan Johnson's Star Wars or Star Trek or
His
whatever. He's done.
his Star Wars was awful.
I don't have an
He
opinion.
ruined Star Wars.
I went to it.
I'm sorry. He ruined it.
I watch Star Wars the way that some people go to church. You just show up. You're
This
there.
is how I handle it.
You experience it. You might talk to somebody afterwards about
Yeah.
the message. You might not. You might not ever think about it again. And then
Yeah.
the next time there's a service or a movie, you're there.
Mhm.
But there's no preamble. There's no buildup. I'm not buying costumes. I'm not talking about it. I'm not,
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Someone
It is the most like I always seem like I don't like Star Wars. I don't like everything else that surrounds it. I just want to experience the movie and then be done with it.
I would love to never hear from a fan on the internet discussing Star Wars. I'd love to never read about it on the internet ever again. I think it has an online fan base that is toxic, but guys like Matt are fine. Guys like Michael, fine. Like
I agree with Odson in the fact that I just don't think anything will ever be good enough for some of these people.
Well, that's how Game of Thrones got to a point
Yeah.
where the whole conversation outside of it made me less interested in watching the actual show.
Yeah.
And then I had the Schadenfreude experience of people being mad about how it went because the show didn't go exactly how they built it in their mind.
Yeah.
And so I sort of enjoyed that.
I think that Star Wars has run into the problem with their characters being too lovable to the point where people think what is best for them. And when that is not proven through the movies, they get very upset that their characters didn't do this or their
Well,
characters didn't act like this or this one or the other. Like
At some
I
point,
think
you forget that it's not yours.
yeah, no, a million, and that's exactly what I'm trying to articulate. Like Star Wars has become everyone's, right? And so it's like people get very invested and very mad about things. I've never really been mad about a Star Wars thing until The Last Jedi. Because that really made me mad because he was like, well, Star Wars can be different and Star Wars can be this and Star Wars can be that. And I'm like, well, you're making the 8th movie out of the 9-movie saga here, all right? It's not your place to rewrite or recreate or redesignate what Star Wars can or can't be.
I just want
I
everything to
think
be
that's fair.
Rogue One.
It's your place to just continue the story. Make the best 3 movies that are concise and that are as linear as possible that entertain the audience. And he decided that he wanted to do his own damn thing and completely, he just wanted to completely just piss all over everything that had been set up before.
I don't have the passion about this.
Well, here's the thing. I used to get very mad about this stuff.
You are getting mad about
and I am. And then I've decided, you know what, it's not that big of a deal anymore. Like I got bigger fish to fry in my life that I just don't need to be. But that's the thing. Every time we talk about Rian
You're
Johnson,
allowed to be passionate about stuff.
every time we talk about Rian Johnson, it gets back to The Last Jedi. And that movie has never made me more mad than honestly, it's top 5 things that have made me mad in quite a while because it just wasn't. It wasn't his place to be like, you don't know what Star Wars can be. I'm like, it doesn't matter what Star Wars is or isn't. What matters is that you were given all these plot lines that J.J. Abrams did a great job setting up, and you just completely decided, nope, we're not doing any of that. And then we had to come back in the 9th movie and completely redirect course, and it just ruined that trilogy completely, which then, in my opinion, has made it completely separate from the saga. And it's just like, it was all because he wanted to be, I don't know, smart, or he thought he was being innovative, or he thought he was, doing things people wanted him to do. If you want to make Star Wars completely different, make your own trilogy, make your own saga, rewrite, but don't do it within the canon. And that made me mad. So there's my Star Wars rant.
I have to admit that when the crossover started today, I could have never guessed that we would get to a Star Wars rant.
I'm back in on.
Love that we got there.
I'm watching the Darth Maul
I don't
series.
mind it. I like that you're watching
Yeah.
movies again, and you're not just
It's an animated series.
It's an animated series.
Okay.
But the art and the
What are you watching?
graphics. This is the new Darth Maul series.
Oh,
Yeah. The art and the graphics.
oh yeah, you
are
were talking
insane.
about Darth Maul. Yes,
I always thought that was an interesting character.
Yeah, but
in the
that
first
is,
movie.
isn't it? See, you got me thinking. Like everybody's favorite Star Wars characters are the ones that died right away.
Yeah.
Like everybody
You even have a favorite. Star Wars
everyone loved Boba Fett, and he was in what, 7 minutes of 2 movies, and
It's
he
a
was
surprisingly low amount.
done. Everybody loves Darth Maul. He was in one singular movie, right? Like I'm shocked that they haven't done anything like a Jango Fett series.
Mhm.
That would be one, but I think the guy's too old now for when they could do that. But but that's very Star Wars fans.
Josh, do you have a
that's
favorite Star Wars character?
If you made me choose, I would probably choose Boba Fett.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't think I have one. I don't
Okay.
know that there's anything that comes to mind.
Do Obi-Wan.
I mean, that would probably be as close. Lando
Obi-Wan.
would be up there, maybe.
Obi-Wan.
'Cause he's
Yeah.
fun.
Lando's awesome. Well, I played the Star Wars Battlefront game, Star Wars Battlefront 2, 1 and 2. But this was on like not the ones that you guys played, like the new gen ones on the PS3 and the PS5. And I use Lando all the time.
I have never played a Star Wars video game.
I'm awesome. I was ranked 1 point in like the Starfighter. Like,
Hello.
yeah, I was pretty damn good. Get an X-Wing.
I have played Star Fox. Have you ever played Star Fox?
No, I haven't. I'm gonna restart Red Dead 2 though pretty soon after I knock these movies out. I don't know what
Okay.
we're watching tonight, but I think we're gonna
Hey,
watch.
so
tonight.
does-
Going back to it tonight.
Does roommate Dan, is he excited that you're
He's
in on
fired
movies?
up. He's so fired up.
Okay.
At first, I didn't know if I would like roommate Dan based on his thoughts on the list. He seemed like he was out on thrillers. I don't know what to take
Roommate
with that.
Dan is very like Dan's very particular. And like and if you and Dan are on the same page, you will be best friends. If you veer off a little bit, he is not afraid to be skeptical of things, but he really likes Josh's list.
Okay.
I don't think
Okay.
he's very
It seemed not to like the list.
well, he just noticed that there was a lot of thrillers. He just
Which again, I think that's the best.
he pointed that out, but that wasn't a
Mhm.
Dan is upset at, but Dan wasn't upset about it or was like judgmental about it. He was
Just
like,
an observation.
he was like, that's a lot of thrillers. Josh likes thrillers. And he got food. He came back yesterday and he was like, so we starting a movie?
So you've done 2 of the lists so far.
I've done 2.
What else is on the list? That
7. 7's up there.
Okay.
We're already further into
can
this
I
than I
vote?
thought we'd ever get.
Can I vote what I think you should watch then?
Yeah,
based
go
on-
ahead. I asked.
Okay, so
Josh
what
yesterday.
else? Roll through it.
Memento, Sixth Sense, 7, Jurassic Park, Terminator 2. We did Reservoir Dogs. We did Sixth Sense.
Godfather 2.
Godfather 2, but
Heat.
it got Heat. So I think Heat might be. It's either Heat or 7.
Now, Heat is 3 hours. You need to know that.
I think you'd be better served breaking Heat up. I don't think. You
How
can do
long
it in
is
one sitting.
Memento?
Memento is going to be shorter.
Short.
It's before Nolan decided every movie needed to be real long.
I think.
Oh, it's an hour 53. That's
Yeah.
a little longer than I thought.
I think we can knock that out.
Mhm.
Probably.
7's longer than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7's over 2.
Honestly,
I
I think it should be Jurassic Park, but you're not going to do it.
No.
So that one's out.
No, I don't think I'm going to do it. And I think I'm now at this point, I'm not going to do it just to piss Jacobson off.
Oh, this is an Austin thing.
This is more.
Oh, okay.
This is more.
Hey, anything to keep that beef sharp for on air.
We always have to keep it sharp.
Mhm.
We always have to keep it on our toes. Mike Schaefer. What a shocker. We had a 40-minute crossover. I mean,
We didn't start that early. I ran longer. Remember, you barged in here wondering if you were on air.
I didn't know. I didn't barge on in. It was
It was
during a
barging.
break. I did not barge.
I think if people saw, they would say barge for sure.
To barge, barge or no barge. That's a
Basically
great
what it
bit.
is.
That's the crossover. Proud by Everlove Concrete Repair in Omaha at everloveconcrete.com. Middays with Matt coming up next here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call. Make room for Daddy. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays Matt live and rolling here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network. Matt McMaster, as always, joined by Josh Odson on a pretty normal, regular, some would say average, some would say, no, I'm not going to make that joke this early in the morning. Anyway, it's a fun day here on Middays with Matt. It is Derby week. We've been celebrating it. We will be celebrating it all week long in this show that loves horse racing. We love horse racing.
We're drinking juleps on the Friday show.
We are gonna, I'm gonna tell you right now, and especially for our people out there in central Nebraska, because I know talking to Alan, boss man Alan, always talking about how much he loves horses, how much central Nebraska loves horses, how much especially Bonner Park, Grand Island, all you people out there who might be listening, we are gonna have a celebration on Friday. All right. We are gonna be hanging. We'll be banging, having a great time, showing off some bets, right? I went to the Nino yesterday, had some talks with my people, okay? Had some discussions, Josh and I might be out there together. We're figuring it out, if you did see us at the local Nino, maybe you could just come and say hi, right? I'll buy the first person who sees me on Kentucky Derby Day, I'll buy them a beer.
Whoa, hello.
If you see me after how funny would it be if I was like, the fourth person who says hi? We did like the 11th radio caller.
All right.
The fourth person who says hi gets a free beer on that.
There's 4 of us. We each go up and say hi. We'll get 1 free drink.
So it will be a one julep Friday, as Travis in the YouTube chat states. We'll have some fun today. We have a lot to talk about in actuality. It's arbitration day in college sports. Today is the beginning of the arbitration case between the College Sports Commission and 18 Nebraska football athletes who are backed by a law group along with the university. And we will see if their deals with Playfly Sports will be allowed by the College Sports Commission. And NIL Go will figure that out. Ross Dellinger will be giving us updates throughout the day on what is going to happen. I would call this a precedent setter, if you will. If a deal like this, if Nebraska goes through and wins this arbitration case and their athletes are paid, a lot of people in college sports are going to be very happy with how that went down, because a lot of teams and a lot of schools across the country are doing what Nebraska is doing with their media rights partner and their use of their funds to go ahead and fund their team and pay their players. If Nebraska were to be shut down and lose this case, and the arbitration court goes ahead and agrees with the College Sports Commission and says, no, this is not a valid way to give funds to athletes, there are going to be a lot of teams out there who are going to be pretty nervous in terms of how they're going to pay their players. Now, there are laws set in place in Nebraska, and so there is a way that, this arbitration case is not the end all be all in terms of whether or not these payments will go through to these athletes, but just in terms of the precedent setting of the College Sports Commission and really how much power does the CSC have, we will find out over the next couple of days as that arbitration case begins today. We've also have had an update from Mr. Charlie Baker, president of the NCAA, in terms of what the eligibility rule will look like. And if you are a senior athlete last season, so meaning you were the class of 2026, you're getting screwed. Let's just put it that way. They are. It'll be very interesting to see what happens in terms of this eligibility case, because Baker and now look, when this proposal of officially switching college sports eligibility to, 5 years to play 4 seasons, when the proposal to go from 5 years to play 4 seasons to you get 5 to play 5 seasons, 5 years, 5 seasons. A lot of people assumed that the seniors last year who played 4 seasons and 4 years would be grandfathered in. They would be given an extra year of eligibility. Guys like Josh Dix or Jamarcus Lawrence or Kendall Blue could be allowed back to play another year of college basketball. And it's one of those things where, yeah, it makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go, hey, they're not going to be here for 3 or 4 more years, right? They're just going to be given 1 more year. They'll play that 1 more year, and then they'll be gone. And would that grandfathering in cause a frenzy? Would it cause the transfer portal for the players that do have now that extra year of eligibility, potentially those who are in the transfer portal, to go wherever they want? And would there be a ton of teams who might have saved up money being like, no, we want this experienced player on our team and we can make a late surge in terms of adding talent to our roster? Would things go crazy in college basketball for, a week or two because of it? Absolutely. But it seems like the NCAA doesn't want anything to do with that. And I think it has a lot to do with the scarring of what happened with the COVID year and just how confusing and complicated the COVID year got. And we literally got to the point in this media industry where we were like, I have no idea how much eligibility this guy has.
I stopped trying to figure it out. I stopped caring that I didn't know.
There were so many, and true professional media members locally and nationally were like, I think he's got a year. I think he's got 2 years. Who knows? And I think that caused a lot of confusion and complications and annoyance across the board. And then we got into this never-ending cycle of waivers and trying to get extra years. And then Diego Pavia was like, all right, I get, JUCO years don't count. And now we're retroactively giving red shirts to Trinidad Chambliss. And it's just like, what the hell has this come to? And it's one of those things where I'm like, man, I understand maybe the hesitancy to go, all right, you know what? Those guys played 4 years. They had their college careers. It's over. We don't want to deal with this frenzy and how crazy things would be for a week or two if we were to allow the grandfathering to happen. But if we're just doing some comparisons and contrasting here, what they've done in the past, this is the cleanest, easiest break that you're going to have. Hey, you played 4 years, you get 5 years. You get 1 more year, you play your year, you're done, right? There's nobody who's going to be grandfathered into this who would then might get injured and have a medical red shirt or anything. No, this is it. This is done. And so a lot of players, and this was from a report from the Field of 68, Jeff Goodman, Rob Doster, their site, where they basically hinted at there's going to be some lawsuits between these players who are seniors last year who have graduated and, used all their eligibility within the rules at that time. There are going to be some lawsuits from some of these players being like, no, you got to give us our extra year. So we will see what happens there. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll talk about the arbitration case. Interesting article came out, ESPN today, about Ty Simpson and secret meetings that occurred between him and Sean McVay.
Who was saying they had never met? They had never spoken?
First off, I want to say this. I don't care that I overreacted to Sean McVay's press conference. Sean McVay it must be a terrible actor because he actively looked pissed off in that meeting or in that presser that pick was that pick. And looking back, I think that Sean just has so much love and respect for Matthew Stafford that he didn't want it to be conveyed in any way that they were disrespecting Matt or they didn't believe in Matt or they're waiting for Matt to leave the Rams.
Oh, that's an interesting way to look at it.
I think Sean was acting the way that he was acting in order to be not to piss Matt off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's never easy when you are an old quarterback, right? You can have as great of a relationship as you want and you can be as good as Matthew Stafford is, but it's never the easiest when you are the starting quarterback and you know you're the starting quarterback and you're trying to win a Super Bowl, and then the team goes, "Hey, by the way, you only got 2 or 3 years here,
We'd
right?
like to win Super Bowls after you're gone.
Yeah,
too.
like, hey, by the way, like, you're the guy who's eventually going to replace you." Like the fact that if I had to look the person every day in the eyes who I knew eventually was going to take my job, I could understand at times that there could be some potential animosity, and we've seen it in the past.
I look Connor in the eyes every morning. He knows what's coming.
Favre, Rodgers, they didn't take it too well, right? They didn't take it too well. So I could see in McVay's in his purview in a way where he's going, all right, I gotta make it very clear to everybody that we love Matt and it's Matt's team, and we're not doing anything to slight him. And this is just kind of, we're looking ahead, because you always have to look ahead. And I don't like the draft pick, but it has nothing to do with what they could have gotten and where they drafted him or anything like that. I don't like the draft because I don't think Ty Simpson is going to be a good quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, that's where I land on it.
Like I just, if you look at the history of college prospects coming out into the NFL, the ones who don't play a lot are more likely to fail than the ones who have a ton of starts. And Ty Simpson, sat for 3 years at Alabama, then was allowed to play. And then in the time that he played his first 9 games, the talent is there. Like you can't deny that he's ultra talented, but those first 9 games, he looked like, holy crap, this guy could end up going number 1. Then that Oklahoma game happened where it's just Venables got him. And then I think Kirby saw a lot of what Brett did and go, all right, well, we're going to do that now, and he just did not play well against Georgia in that SEC championship game. And then he got his ass kicked by Indiana. And then, there was a whole conversation about, well, he might have gotten hurt. I'm well within my right to say, well, the guy made 15 starts and he got hurt. Like, he's played 1 year, and in that year he got hurt. Like, is he smart enough? Is he durable enough? That injury where he broke his ribs against Indiana was all his fault. And so I also question as well, if he sits for 2 years, that means out of the last 6 seasons, he's only played 1 season.
Yeah.
He sat for 3 years in Alabama.
It's a lot of rust to knock off.
I think the question, it's a fair question to say, how much better can he get? Like, how much more development? How much more to learn? Like, Ty Simpson, at some point in his career, needs to play. It's not just all about, sitting and getting better that way. You need experience. You need in-game experience. He's not going to get that now for another at least a year, more than likely 2. So my criticism of the pick has nothing to do with, they could have gotten Mekhi Lemon, or they could have done this, or they could have done that. It's just really just based on the fact that I just don't know if he's really going to pan out.
Mm-hmm.
A guy who agrees with that is going to be on the show. Michael Severe will be on at 11:20, the executive director of the Jed Award Foundation, and also is a Tim Verghese Tuesday. Timmy V will join us at 12:20. He released a 1,300-word article detailing all the recruiting happening in and around Lincoln, Nebraska. So we'll talk to Tim about that. We'll also get some of his analysis on the draft picks that occurred during the NFL draft. Tim, one of the best player evaluation guys that I know, that I love to talk to about. So we'll talk about that stuff with him. We have a Top 10 Tuesday.
Yes, we do. It is completed.
Josh Hodson has created a top 10 list. I do not know what the top 10 list is of, but we will talk about that. So I'm very excited. We'll do that at around 1 o'clock today. And then we are going to have a fun segment. Kentucky Derby horse or a made-up Matt McMaster horse?
Oh!
I have the 10 names. We will do that along with, throughout the entirety of the day, the worst thing to happen to me is the Kentucky Derby simulator. I'm just simulating races the entire time, just saying like, hey, by the way, if Further Ado is going to end up winning this race, he's probably going to have to do it from the front. Renegade, he's got the inside track because he's the number 1 horse. It's just dependent. If it's a fast pace, I actually like Renegade's chances as opposed to it being a normal pace.
Do we know the weather? We got to know the weather.
67 degrees, a little bit cloudy.
Okay.
Post time, I believe it will be down to 58, if I'm not mistaken. mistaken.
Okay.
Last year was a sloppy track. Everyone
Yes.
knows that if it's a sloppy track, throw out the tickets.
Yep.
At this point, I think we're probably closer to it being normal than fast, but we'll see.
Mhm.
We-
Got some rain here in the first part of the week,
but
but you got days to clear that out.
we'll be fine.
Yeah.
We will be A-okay. Alrighty. Coming up next, Middays with Matt, we kick it off with some arbitration here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Well, if you're listening to that last promo, you might have heard a bad take in there.
I put it in there because it was a good take.
It was a great take
when you said it.
when I made it. But I said, and I quote, I think there are too many teams who already make the NBA playoffs. Let's be real. How many times do a 7 seed or an 8 seed really make a run? Oh, no.
Picked the wrong year to
Literally.
plant your flag in that.
Literally.
Yeah.
Now, I want to make clear when I say, quote, unquote, make a run.
Right.
It's more of a finals run, more of a conference finals run.
2 series.
2 series, probably 3. Let's put 3.
Yeah. Smart by you.
Thank you. 3. We're gonna go. Hey, 3, my lord, 3. Or this way.
There you go.
I have seen that movie before this whole renaissance of me watching movies as opposed to watching playoff hockey, which I've watched. I'm getting to the point where I've watched a lot of playoff hockey that I might need like a day break. Real quick, we're not going to talk about it too much. The whole offside thing, challenging offside and the review and taking away goals has made referees in hockey not want to call close offside. And it's frustrating because now they think because
Makes
they had
sense.
the safety net that they would just like, oh, we'll just let him play out. And you know what? When they get the puck out of the zone anyway, it's like, all right, we'll keep the game rolling, even though if something of note actually happened there, we would have had to retroactively go and take it back. To me, it's a waste of time. And it's like, do your job. Do your job. And I kind of like, I feel bad for the players too, because I've been in that situation before where you think you win the game, you get off the bench, you're grabbing the guys, you're screaming and you're yelling. And then all of a sudden you go back to the bench because it's like, oh, you didn't win. And then the other team actually has a new energy because they're like, oh, we thought we lost and now we're back in it. We got to take advantage of it. And then you, even though that you made a great play and you scored the goal, you've been like zapped of your momentum because you're like, oh, I thought we won. I experienced the high of losing now or high of winning. And now I'm in the low of now we got to go and do that again. Oh my God. It all stems from the fact that I just think referees, and I'm just seeing this with my own eyes because watch so many of these games in this first round of just like, meh, close enough. We'll go back and look at it if anything bad happens. Like it's a little ridiculous. And it happened yesterday with the Vegas Golden Knights where it couldn't like live. I'm like offside. I'm like, he's off. And then they score. And I'm like, they're going to go back and take the, how do you not, I'm seeing this on the TV. How are you not seeing this on the ice? And they didn't call it. It was dumb, stupid. Vegas though, beautiful, beautiful goal to go ahead and win that game yesterday, tied up 2-2. There was a great Twitter clip I saw of the Utah Mammoth were giving out free jerseys if you exchanged your Vegas Golden Knight jersey.
Yeah, a lot of them,
dude,
were Vegas fans before they had
Because
a team in the area.
there
Because
was
it was the closest one,
closest team,
and they were good right away. So yeah,
they were so good right away. Which is, I think, the nice thing about hockey is that hockey can be played in a way where it's like even if you're not the most talented, if you have a couple of things and you have a good coach, you can win immediately, and that's what Vegas did. And then, but now Vegas has been in the league long enough where they're getting good players, and you know, Mark Stone. I mean, what a his number will be retired there, and he's going to be a benchmark. No one will ever talk about, and I'm not talking about Mark Stone in light of like the greatest hockey players of all time. He's not even close to that in terms of, you know, how he is as a player. But if we're talking about like important figures in hockey, him being great and him help building that culture as the captain to lead the Vegas Knights to have the early success they've had in their franchise history, very important figure, in my opinion, in hockey history. You can fight me on that. But I think it was genius what the Mammoth did. They go, hey, if you turn in a jersey, we'll give a jersey of your own. Very entertaining series. Minnesota, Dallas tonight. Hell yeah. Now
2-2, right?
Now watching a movie tonight, by the way.
Not.
I'll be watching that game.
Okay. That's fine.
I can't watch a movie and have a hockey game on to the left.
We're already further along in this process than I thought we'd ever
I don't
get,
think you thought that I would watch any of these
Not
movies.
a single one. Maybe in like the dog days of summer when you were bored as hell. You're like, put on one of these movies.
And I would come back and be like, watch 50 minutes of Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know?
That's exactly how I thought it would go.
No,
I'm thrilled.
we're committed. Well, I got to be committed to something. I got to do something for Josh. Okay. I
Hey.
got to do something.
Just show up.
And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. 6th Sense better than Reservoir Dogs.
Okay.
6th Sense better than Reservoir Dogs.
I think I agree with that. I'd have to check the logs.
I was not fired up to rewatch Reservoir Dogs. I was like, okay, cool. I watch it. Like, I know what happens. I want to rewatch 6th Sense at some point. I was like, I really want to. Now that I know what happens, I want to go back and notice some of the things.
You will notice some things. Yep.
But it's
For
also,
sure.
I'm still worried about Cole, you know, and like, how's he gonna? That's a tough way to live, man.
Yeah.
Seeing ghosts all the time. I mean, even now that he can control it, still, it's not easy talking to ghosts.
Maybe a sequel about how it really panned out for him.
Okay,
in
so who
adulthood.
was that child actor?
That was Haley Joel Osment.
Okay, whatever happened to him? 'Cause- Oh no,
Let's just get there as quick as possible. Puberty did not treat him well.
oh, was he? He was a cute kid.
Yeah, not a cute adult.
Really?
Yeah.
That's tough. Did he ever do anything else in his?
Oh yeah, he's been in a lot of other movies.
Okay.
Less as an adult, but
Okay, good to know. He was. Can I be real with you?
please.
I think that's the best child actor performance I've ever seen.
Yeah, it would certainly be on the short list.
I mean, he is incredible. Like, he is a great actor. And the way that
Yes.
he moved from being the fact that that little kid acted like being a psycho to then being like a normal, regular kid that I really liked. You
Uh,
know,
The YouTube chat pointing out he was the bad guy in Happy Gilmore 2.
see, I will never watch.
I had forgotten about that.
I'll never watch that.
He is in Forrest Gump at the very end.
Okay, is he the one? Is he one of the hippies that?
No, he
Oh.
was Forrest Jr.
Oh, okay.
He was watching, I believe it was Sesame Street.
I got to rewatch Forrest Gump.
It's a fine movie.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
All right. So when people say, and people have said that it's the greatest movie ever,
That's right.
you say what?
I say, boy, I'm not sure that's the take you want to really commit to.
What is the greatest movie ever?
That is the greatest movie ever. I mean, I go with The Godfather.
Okay. Shawshank?
Shawshank, very good. Right on up there, short list.
You're not a Godfather 2 better than Godfather 1?
I am not. I understand the viewpoint.
Do
I
you
just
think
don't
those
agree with
people are
it.
trying to be interesting?
Or
are they trying to feed into the trope that the sequel is never better than the original? But saying Godfather 2 is better than Godfather 1 plays against that, and they like that.
I feel like the first 30 minutes of The Godfather are pretty darn slow. And
They are. Now I will say,
after the wedding, it's all downhill in The Godfather 1.
Yeah. Can we be real?
Mhm.
We can clean up the wedding.
Like
if we went back to post, we could clean it up.
You would make it tighter if you made the.
I don't
movie
need
today.
Joey Baklava, whatever his name, repeating his line over and 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 over again for 5 minutes.
Mhm.
And the performance from Johnny, that could have been way shorter than what it actually was. But after Vito gets shot,
Yeah, we're
Holy crap.
cooking. We're cooking.
it's
after
really the movie starts getting going after the horse's head is
Mhm.
is
that. I would agree with that.
in the bed. But talking about, I don't know how I'm going to transition from that. Let's just talk about what's going to happen today. The beginning, what's starting today, the arbitration case.
Arbitration Day.
Yeah, Peter asked me. He goes, "What do you want me to name the screen?"
He texted me that today, and I said, I don't.
And I've
know.
never had that power before.
Oh.
But I was thinking, how much work do I want Peter to do? And I did not ask him, but I was like, I wrote out if you could like take anything from Independence Day and then stick a Nebraska N on it, that would be great. Like that was my idea,
yeah.
but I didn't want Peter to do much more work. But it's arbitration day, the naming of our screen. So this, I've had to read multiple Dellinger articles to understand everything that's going on. And it even dates back to an article about Brendan Sorsby, about his deal with LSU. So Brendan Sorsby was ended up signing with Texas Tech, rumored $5 million to be the quarterback of the Red Raiders. The other team that was bidding against Texas Tech was LSU. And LSU had a $3.5 million offer that was unsigned by Sorsby, that included their multimedia rights partner, Playfly Sports, who is also the multimedia rights partner of Nebraska, partnering up with their NIL collective, NILSU Max. And essentially, that deal was one of the first times we saw how teams were trying to circumvent the cap, if you will, and use third-party NIL to pay players more upon deals. And I'm going to read you a part here from this article from Dellinger. This was all the way back in January, right, about Sorsby's deal. Dellinger writes, in essence, NILSU Max, acting as a marketing agency, is charged with fulfilling the $3.5 million guaranteed by landing sponsorship deals for Sorsby through Playfly's corporate partners and affiliates. The act of either redirecting sponsorship dollars that in the past often went to athletic department or raising new sponsorship monies. So essentially, and this is not Nebraska, this is just how LSU did it, money that would go to the university through Playfly Sports buying their multimedia right partnerships and finding sponsors like through there and finding corporate partners. That money, instead of going to the athletic department, which is why Playfly makes that deal with the athletic department, instead of it going to the athletic department, it instead goes to the athlete. Now, it's very clear the College Sports Commission and their clearinghouse NIL Go, what they want is deliverables, right? What they want in the contract is, we are going to give you this amount of money, and you specifically are going to do this. You're going to sign autographs, or you're going to appear at these events, or you are going to be on this billboard, or in the case of these clothing companies, Adidas, Under Armour, you're going to wear our gear, or you're going to post on Instagram that you love the new Adidas Fly Zero shoe, something of that nature. And so NIL Go and the CSC are challenging that these Nebraska contracts, hey, you don't have deliverables here, and you instead are warehousing these deals, and you're giving this money up to these players without having them to do anything. And we can't do that anymore. And we now know that you can't do that anymore because it's very well stated, but Nebraska fans specifically know that they can't do that anymore because Troy Dannon, in his Big Red Rebuild press conference, said so. Someone was Dannon was asked about, hey, what do you think of, and I'm paraphrasing here, what do you think of, people thinking that the money, should go to NIL, it should go to players, it should go to the team, it should go to NIL. And Dan very bluntly said, people don't realize what NIL is today. Now I want to make sure, and I don't want people to take this the wrong way from Troy. Troy also said, I don't blame people for not knowing. The rules change every single day, right? It's just, we have, and he's totally right. We've evolved so much in what NIL truly is and how it's being utilized that he's saying, I don't blame people for thinking that we just put all this money in a pot and then we give that money out to win athletes. And instead, he went on to describe, look, we have to create corporate relationships, with the athletes in order to have third-party NIL. And he went on to kind of describe, we have to fund this through our department, and we will be prepared for, and when he says you have to fund it through so he goes, we have to fund this through the department. We have to find partnerships with companies for our athletes. So he's basically describing, like, we can't just give these guys the money anymore. We have to go ahead and convince people, hey, company, we have athletes. Athlete can help you. Company give money. Athlete help.
Profit.
And Playfly Sports is also kind of an arm of that, right? They are partnering with athletes and basically promising athletes, hey, through sponsorships and through our partnerships with companies, we are going to give you this money. And the College Sports Commission is like, bro, you gotta mark out specifically what these athletes are doing. So that's what they're going to arbitration for, to try and make it as clean and concise and for you to know what is going on. Now, there was another interesting part, and I kind of messed up my quotes a little bit here. I went back and fixed it, but Troy Aikman said, we will be prepared for an uncapped world in his quotes. And he was basically saying, and I think Troy is hinting at there that we're not the only people doing this. We're not the only people making these deals. We're not the only people who are going to end up going to arbitration. We're not the only people that are going to try and challenge the College Sports Commission. And I think Troy knows, and this is just me reading into it, but Troy's a smart guy. And what I appreciate about Troy is that he's always trying to push Nebraska into, hey, more modern things in order to benefit the athletic department. And I think that he always has done a really good job of being ahead of the curve and not being caught on the back foot in terms of the ever-changing landscape. And I think that's part of the reason why, in my opinion, he's done a pretty good job, a damn good job up to this point in doing that. And so it doesn't surprise me at all that Dandon goes, we're going to be prepared for an uncapped world. But I also think when he says that out into the open, and when an athletic director tells everybody, hey, we're ready for a world where it's not just $20.5 million and these third-party deals aren't under a microscope, I think when he communicates that and he says that, he's basically saying, look, one way or another, either these deals are going to go through and we're going to find more creative ways for us to pay our athletes, or people are going to get sick and tired of this process and they're eventually just going to say, you know what? We're done. It's uncapped. Whatever, pay your athletes whatever you want to pay your athletes, right? And so I think that, and I think that's kind of, and I'm reading into it, but when the athletic director goes, hey, we're prepared to not have a cap on these salaries, to me, it's he's communicating to people, look, eventually, one way or the other, we're going to find a way to get our athletes what we need to get our athletes. And I think that people at Nebraska should be happy about that. Now, realistically, is Nebraska ever going to pay the most for a football team? No, not
Seems
realistically.
unlikely.
But just because you spend money doesn't mean you're going to win. You see that all the time throughout sports every single year. Look at the New York Mets. Look at the Boston Red Sox. Look at all these teams in baseball. We spent all these gobsmacks of money. The Philadelphia Phillies. And they're not playing well. Just because you spend a lot doesn't mean you win a lot. You don't, it's not about spending a lot. It's about spending right. Don't spend the money, spend the right money. And so that's where, and I'll want to give him credit because he always said this and it always was in his mind. But Gary, when we hosted in the morning, Gary was always like, look, the money's great or whatever. But at the end of the day, it comes back to who's coaching, right? Who's managing the team? What the direction are they going? And who are the people at the top? And I think that's always going to be the case. But it's not, I want to remind people, though, that that's not unique to college. That's everywhere. That's in every pro sport. That's not just like, oh, this is a college thing where coaching matters more than ever. No. That matters everywhere. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here in terms of the arbitration case, because Nebraska win it. Do they get to pay their athletes through the deals that they signed, or what happens after this? And there could be a whole other saga of things that happen after this arbitration case if it does not go the way for Nebraska. Coming up next, we talk to the executive director of the Jet Award Foundation, Mr. Michael Severe, here to talk about the NFL draft and some running backs as well for Nebraska football here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays Matt live and rolling here on 1620 Zone and 97.7 The Zone in Central Nebraska. It's a Monday at 11:25, which means we are joined. It's Tuesday. We are joined by Michael Severe here on Middays. That's been a long week. I'm sick. Can you hear me?
I mean, since I met you, you've been sick.
No.
But I mean, are you ill? Are you saying you're ill?
I am ill.
You're ill. Okay.
Call it dinner or supper?
Depends on what time of day it is. If it's Sunday. Or not.
Oh, Sunday supper. I can subscribe to that. Now
it's an early dinner. So supper is early. So if you're having it, around 2 or 3 o'clock for us, that's what we considered supper. And so Sunday.
Oh, I just called that. I call that like brunch.
Yeah. Well, brunch didn't exist when I was growing up, kid.
A late.
It wasn't a word.
Don't kid exist. Me because a word is now a word and it didn't exist.
It's a great word. It's just nobody talked about the brunch. So again, early in the day, if we're eating a dinner type meal, I call it supper. If it's late, then I call it dinner. 12
to 2 brunch, 2 to 4, I call it dinner. And then lunch and dinner.
There's nothing I hate more than the phrase Brenner. I've thought about if I ever got really sick and I knew I was going to die, that I would find people that said the word Brenner and I would do evil things to them.
Like breakfast and dinner?
I hate it. I hate it with a passion.
But I've never heard anybody call it Brenner. You just go, I'm having breakfast for dinner.
They call it Brenner all the time. I had never heard of it.
You got to stop talking to they.
I had never heard of it, right? I had never, Google it. I had never heard of it. I moved here. It was the first time I ever heard breakfast for dinner. Because we don't play that stuff, right?
You're right.
We don't play that stuff. And so, they're like having pancakes for dinner. I'm like, what are you talking about? And my wife's like, you should make Brenner for the kids. I'm like, no, if they want breakfast for dinner, you're making it or they're making it. I'll make them dinner. I'll make them 6 dinners. I'm not making them Brenner.
Was breakfast a big thing for you growing up?
Oh, we had breakfast every day. Oh, we swung by my grandma's house every day. And she had grits. She had eggs. She usually had a pan of liver and gravy. But on the back one, for me and my cousin Corey, she had pork chops with red eye gravy in the back one. So we could have that. Or we had hot sausage. Probably every third day we had patent hot sausage for breakfast. We had breakfast every day.
Like pork chops for breakfast.
Yeah. It's a breakfast meal. Actually, pork chops were always for breakfast back in the day. That's where red eye gravy comes from. The breakfast.
I guess I'm thinking about it. And when I have breakfast, I'm a savory guy. I'm very rarely a sweet.
Yeah, I'm not. We don't have anything sweet. Everything I named to you just now, nothing sweet in there.
No. Well, that's why I think I would enjoy Louisiana breakfast.
Yeah, we don't eat breakfast.
You and I that one time we went to Bailey's. You got that what was it? The omelet? Was it the Louisiana omelet or something?
Well,
it
was
it was a shrimp. It was a shrimp.
It was Lent. It was Lent, and I don't eat meat during Lent too, so that was part of it. That's why I had that there. Normally, when I go to Bailey's, my favorite things to get there is just their bagel. They have great bagels. They bring them in, and the lox, bagel lox with cream cheese. Perfect breakfast for me. I love it. Perfect.
Growing up where I grew up, lox sandwich was like the top thing on the meal. Like every breakfast place you go to had to have some sort of lox sandwich.
Where'd you grow up?
Muskogee, Illinois, which has has a very big population that enjoys a lox sandwich.
I drove through your town.
I know we talked about this before. You went by the Hebrew National College, which is about a block and a half away from where I grew up.
Yeah, I drove right by it, and I was like, "Hey, this is where Mac." And I was like, "Do you know Matt McMaster?" And the guy gave me the finger, and I was like, "Okay, fine, whatever."
Well, that actually is probably a proper response if you were to say my name.
Yeah, give me dropping the.
You were like, I was on a street called Tui, and I'm like, first off, that's like being like, hey, I'm in Omaha. I was on a street on Dodge.
Yeah,
I was on a street called Dodge.
That's long. It's long street. Yeah,
Tui's very long.
We were cutting through
all the way into the city.
Yeah, we're cutting through. We drove in we were going to Costa Rica. We went to Chicago to fly, and we went that way because there was traffic on the interstate real bad. So, yeah, it was great. Yeah,
pretty bad. I'm glad. Let's talk football.
All right. Yeah.
Do you want to talk the NFL or college? Do you prefer?
Oh, I don't care. No, whatever you. I heard you saying something about running backs. I didn't know if you're talking about Nebraska running backs. If you're talking about college running backs.
I got one question for both college and one question for the NFL, and I think we'll take up the time with both those questions. We'll start with the running backs, Nebraska running backs.
Yeah.
Stephen M. Sipple, our friend, went ahead, wrote an article about the running backs and EJ Barthel's confidence in the running backs.
Yeah.
It was detailed. Mekhi Nelson, the flashes he showed against Utah, seems like, Isaiah Mosey, after having a full year under running back, he's kind of made that position change. He's getting better. He's added a lot of weight. And then you have Jamal Rule, the wild card. Barthel went as far as to say that he thinks that this is the best in terms of how complete the group is. He thinks it's the best running back room he's had since he's been at Nebraska. Do you, on the surface level, look at that or agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, since he's been here, sure. Yeah, there's not really like a doubt about it. They haven't been very efficient running the ball overall. Even though they had the Big Ten Rusher of the Year, they weren't overly efficient at doing it, right? If you look at how many times, according to the reports on the analytics, when you look at the breakdown, Emmett Johnson, they talk about how many people he made miss in the backfield, right?
Yeah,
well, that's not the way it's supposed to work. I don't know if you know this, but that's not the way it's supposed to work. And so that wasn't great. And then they really couldn't confidently go to the number 2 and 3 guys, even though I think Mosey is going to be great. I look at that and I go, they couldn't comfortably go there. So that's not a great room, right? Now I think they feel really comfortable. Hell, would you be shocked if we come out of the non-conference play that Jamal Rules won the job? Wouldn't be shocked at all. I wouldn't be shocked at all. Not at all.
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked.
I don't know what would you look at in the package you see from him and what he does and what he has that you would say would keep him from getting that?
I don't think there's anything. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything. I think that if we're talking about the archetype of running back that he is, it's just like he has to build on that, right? You just have to improve and be more explosive, get faster, read the hole, be more decisive, right? But
I think he does those things. I think we've seen those. I mean, it's limited in the spring game, but just talking about to people at practice and the advancement he made in terms of being a runner over the course of about 4 weeks was incredible. So now you're going to give him an entire offseason. He's going to go in, get carries against lesser teams, right?
Sure.
And then when they come out of that, they're going to have to make a decision. Is Mekhi Nelson just because of default your number 1 guy? Is Mosey because of his completeness and ability to be really powerful? Is he your guy? Or the upside of having a home run hitter like Jamal Rule worth it? Putting him as
I think the point where I was trying to make, Michael, is that he doesn't have another tool he needs to add. Like I don't look at Rule and be like he's got to add an additional tool or he's got the package to be it. He just needs it, like you said, needs to play. He needs to just see. He just needs to see it and hit it and run with it. So I wouldn't be shocked. I would be more. I think shock's the wrong word, but I'd be very impressed with him. I'd be very impressed by Jamal if he went and he did that. I think that, especially considering the fact that he's going to have one whole less year under a system that Mosey and Nelson have. But I think the reason why I asked you that question was I kind of harkened back to the Emmett Johnson, Dante Dowdell, Ramir Johnson group. And that was in comparison to everything else they had. Like, you're definitely not saying last year was the most complete group or the best group. And you're definitely not saying year 1 was the best group or the most complete group. But Dowdell, Emmett Johnson, and Ramir Johnson at moments kind of all had their moments in a way. But
Ramir missed most of the season.
But they came back to that full game.
Yeah, but he missed most of the season. And by that, so remember, Dowdell couldn't do 3 plays in a row because he had asthma. So anytime you got a player who has to come out because he's got asthma, I'm not going to be that overly excited about him. And then Ramir was dealing with, his mom's passing and health issues. And he came back to the bowl game.
I'm not necessarily talking about why they didn't perform or why they weren't, as good as they could have been. But I do think that group definitely had way more experience heading into their seasons.
How many of these guys do you think could play in the NFL that they have right now?
Like on the team or in the running back room?
In the running back room. How many running backs do you think they have that could be drafted?
I say 2.
You say just 2. Okay, so you say out of the 4 that they're talking about, only 2 get drafted.
They have, but Michael, this is the conversation.
I'm just going to compare it to that class because Ramir's not an NFL player. I don't think Dowdell's going to be an NFL player. So that's one guy compared to what you think could be 2.
Okay, but at the same time, we're talking about what we already know compared to what we don't know, and we're talking about what we don't know compared to what hasn't happened yet. And the matter of fact is that I think they have 2 guys who have the potential to do it. But the fact of the matter is that they haven't played. The guys haven't played. The
guys did play and they didn't do it.
And they weren't very good.
And
I do trust that Mosey is going to be. I think Mosey's going to be really good next year. And
I think he's complete. He's complete, and he's got.
Well, he's the NFL guy for me.
And he also has on him. He also has the ability to say, I have taken this punishment. I have dealt with I've had the ability to be able to say, I'm not playing. I'm going to keep working. See, so Rule, I think, is a very good player. I don't know what he'll be like emotionally when he's not playing. Some guys can handle it. Some guys can sit there and wait and be cool about it. Emmett was one of them for the most part. But I don't know that. I know Mosey can handle it already. And I've also sat down and talked with Mosey's mom, and so I know he's a good dude.
Well, his dad was so impressive.
His dad was really good, but his mom was, she was better. Hanging with his mom was better.
His dad, the 2 coaches that you guys had on at the Jet Award, Coach Stroh and Coach Mosey, they were wildly impressive. They
care about development and making sure that their guys are really good, both football players and citizens. So they care about.
I think you could tell that by the speeches they gave, and Jamar was just talking about his guys. He was getting pretty emotional.
Yeah,
Stroh had his guy right in front of him, and he was incredible. Yeah. By the way, 4th round pick, hell yeah!
Hey, 6 picks. How about that? 6 picks out of Iowa Western. Pretty awesome. I doubt any of them were recruited by Nebraska. Let me tell you. Listen. Tom Osborne. You may know him. He won 235 games in Nebraska.
I've heard of him before.
Tom Osborne went to that little area in Council Bluffs where they have a campus now and helped them develop the concept for having a football program because he thought to himself, it would be nice to have from the campus about 65 miles away a functioning junior college so you could bring those players up opposed to having to go to Kansas or anywhere else in the Jayhawk League, right? So he helped build it. He brought the horse to the water. And not only did not drink it, they didn't even get in.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It is ridiculous.
Ridiculous that they have not taken advantage of the talent that is right on the other side of the river from here. It makes no sense.
Josh, do you know over the last 4 years how many Reavers have been drafted? Because it's got to be up there.
It's 13 all time.
Okay. But they had 2 last. Yeah, they had 2 or 3 last year. They tried getting that one guy from Iowa Western, and then
I pushed Van Ginkel. I watched Van Ginkel play a year over at Iowa Western. Going a lot of games back then. I was like, this guy. I was telling people at the universe. Well, I was telling Sean Callahan to tell people. I was telling him, hey, this Van Ginkel guy is good. You need a pass rusher. I know you don't run a 3-4 currently, but he can fit into this system. He can. Whatever system you need, he can fit into it. And instead he goes to Wisconsin, and now he's had an NFL career, whatever.
Well, yeah, he's been a pain in the ass for my favorite team. I mean,
he's got 2 picks that he caught. He caught 2 picks at the line of scrimmage. You know,
he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys where I watch him and you wish he was on your team.
Yes.
You watch him.
He's got a high motor.
Exactly. Which is why I kind of like that Caleb Banks kid that they ended up taking if he can stay healthy, because he's kind of the same way.
Yeah. I'm with you on it. Yeah.
High motor. If he can, but you've taught me this. Broken feet on a guy who's 6'6", 330 pounds, not good. So maybe they reached a little bit. Granted, if he went to 25, I would have wanted the Bears to take him, because the Bears have always succeeded when they've had a really good nose or a guy who can just line up inside and just clog up the line of scrimmage. And he's going to do that if he can stay healthy. Real quick, I knew
him and Woods would go before McDonald. I knew that.
What do you think about Tiedemann drop? Right. Why did Tiedemann drop so far?
I don't know. First of all, sometimes you got to say that teams are stupid, right? Like what the Vikings did over the course of those 3 days was
Yeah,
ridiculous. Some of the choices they made. The first being, you need a safety. Your Hall of Fame safety. You heard that, Schaefer? Your Hall of Fame safety retired. So not as good as Troy Polamalu career-wise, but still, Hall of Fame guy. Listen, you go get a guy to replace him. He's sitting right there. He's even of the same persuasion as the other guy. Go get him. Why not? And no, they don't. They pass up on him.
I got to ask you about
22
tight ends were taken.
Isn't that awesome? Safeties, tight ends. I love it. Love it.
Real quick, because we got a couple minutes, but we have to talk about this. And you and I have talked about this profusely on and off the air. It seems like teams are like, all right, we have to get great at safety so we can disguise our looks and we can go ahead and not have the quarterback be able to read what we're gonna run. And then also the Mike McDonald of, man, if you can defend the run in a too high shell, like that's peak defense. And then the counter to that is, all right, well, you're going to do that. We're going to have 13 personnel go 3 tight ends, and you're never going to really know if we're going to run or we're going to pass it. Your just kind of evaluation of the evolution of what the sport is taking, and the fact that 22 tight ends went, and we have some of the best offensive minds in Jacksonville, Chicago, LA, Minnesota, all taking them, and then Cleveland, Baltimore, and Jacksonville all took 2 tight ends in their draft.
Yeah, I love it. Listen, all it is it's an evolution of what we had, what the Redskins did with the counter tray, right? But now you, instead of having a really athletic offensive lineman who weren't overly big back then, obviously, now you're saying, you know what? We'll let our offensive linemen be offensive linemen, and we're going to substitute that pulling tackle or the pulling guard. We're going to use our tight ends to do that now, and we're going to line them up that way. Plus, if they don't block or if they chip in and go out, they can actually catch the ball, opposed to, one of those big hogs from the Redskins who couldn't exactly do that. No, it's awesome, and it's a counter play. You got these heavy dimes and heavy nickels that are being brought into the box, and you're like, okay, I've got something to challenge you with. I'm going to give you a guy who is more athletic than your heavy dime, your heavy nickel, and we're going to have him go out, and he's going to run routes, and if nothing else, he's going to block you down the field so our run game can be successful. So it's a counter thing back and forth. I love it. I love the tight end position. I always drafted it when I played fantasy football, overly too many of them, because they score touchdowns and they catch passes. And for the most part, they're the guy that you're going to go to in crucial situations, right? That's the guy you're going to look for. Your slot receiver, your tight end.
Yeah, there's a safety valve. I mean, I say it all the time. It's like when you have a young quarterback, you need a good running back. But then the next guy that I would say is you need a good tight end. You just need a tight end that can be a big target and then you can check down to, or you can just throw it easy to. And I think that they're now evolving into more than just that. And I'm very interested to see now, real quick.
Yeah.
Right now in the league, Sean McVay, the most influential coach.
Well, because of his tree.
I think it's everything. I think it's
the people
the
that
tree.
come off him. But he just made
tree.
one of the worst picks. His team just made one of the worst picks in professional football history.
But it's one of those things where I agree. I don't like the pick, not because where the pick was. I don't like the pick because I don't think the kid's going to be good.
Well, I think that beyond the fact that you got to win for this year and adding a top first round pick at a tight end spot, another wide receiver, wherever you want to go, I don't care. Pass rusher, that matters. That should have been the pick.
I think, though, he showed his influence when they had to have secret meetings with the guy because they were afraid that if people found out that Sean liked him, that other people would go and get him.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. I think there are a lot of guys that are on both sides of the ball, but with all the coaches that have come out of his tree, you have to say that. Yeah.
Well, the defensive guys out of his tree haven't been great, but the offensive guys have been.
It's the fact that they get jobs and people are giving them opportunities because they're coming off him. It shows you the respect they have for him. The guy to look out for, who dumped off the most passes last year at quarterback? Who was the guy that hit the most safety valve passes?
Oh,
last
Darnold?
year. Last year, the guy was. What did he say?
Oh, I don't know. Josh said Rodgers.
Right, Aaron Rodgers. Eli Heidenreich, dude, out of the backfield or in that slot. Oh my God, he's gonna catch so many passes next year. So many passes. He may catch 100 balls next year.
I really like Claire for the Rams. I know
you. Good. No, that's fine.
Pick, but the Claire pick. And by the way,
least athletic class ever. Bears had the most athletic ever.
I know. It was awesome.
And
I
the
love
Rams and Elite's athletic.
All the casuals hated our draft. I loved our draft.
It wasn't. No, it was. That's ridiculous. It's a top 10 draft. It's a top 10 draft. They were good.
You got a Reaver. You're good.
I loved our draft. I said everybody hated our draft. I loved it. I thought we killed it.
No, you got a Reaver, so you got a good draft.
We did get a good draft. All right. We, like always, we keep you on way too long, but you're the man. Appreciate you so much. I owe you lunch, by the way. I know you didn't forget. So,
I didn't forget. I mentioned it yesterday on Sportsman Comment.
I know. Well, one time I made a bet with Michael and I was trying to get out of it, and he goes, "No. You to the front of the line, my friend." So that's when we went to
was that the 12.5 or like 12? It was like you lost by like a half.
I lost by a half point. We did a draft like we did the 1 through 30, and whoever won ended up having to get lunch for him. Yeah. And I lost by a half point. I lost by the hook. Damn it! No, I always lose by the hook.
The hook is the crook, man. The hook is the crook. And if you're a quarterback playing college football, stay away from the hook or hookers. Either one of those.
Get out of here. We'll talk to you later.
All right, talk to you later.
Executive Director of the Jet Award Foundation, Michael Spear. Coming up next, I don't know what we're going to do, but it's going to be pretty quick here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right. Solo odd news story coming up here. Let's really milk this one for all that's worth.
Okay, we go to Florida.
Oh, okay. Male.
Yes.
Strip club.
Close.
Gun.
No.
All right, I really went for the trifecta.
You did.
There.
You
I
did.
Really.
Classic trifecta.
That is the golden triangle of Florida crime.
2 18-year-olds are facing criminal charges after a pair of social media stunts caused property damage and endangered people. According to the Ocala Police Department, Janik and Luke, I won't attempt to pronounce their last names.
Janik?
Janik, Janek.
No, I have no clue how to say that. You know what? He goes by Jay. We'll just call him Jay.
Jay and Luke were arrested for disorderly conduct following an incident Saturday, which Jay drove a lawnmower through the Target store, damaging a door. Luke recorded the stunt on camera. The night before, Jay entered a Culver's restaurant on the same street and used a leaf blower inside the building, which was also filmed for social media. Authorities say these were not harmless pranks. They endangered people, caused property damage, and resulted in criminal charges for both teens.
Yeah. I'm going to be real. They're funny. Okay? They are funny.
If I saw the video, I would probably go, dang, that's pretty funny.
I would chuckle. They're both jackasses and absolutely should be arrested.
Both things can be true at the same time.
And the social media, TikTok, influencer prank community might be the worst prank community of all time, because might be the worst community ever, just because you go and as soon as you confront them, they go, "Oh, it's just a prank. It's just a prank.
Just doing it for the lulz,
it's
man.
just a prank." And then they're just a bunch of chicken S's, just a bunch of chicken S's. And it's just like, that if that guy with the leaf blower, if you grabbed him by the collar and you tried hitting him and you tried beating his ass,
I'll sue you.
He'll charge you, and you'll be the one who's getting arrested.
Yep.
So you just gotta wait. You're eating your burger and your cheese curds, and all of a sudden the leaf blower's going off, and all you got to do is sit there for the PD to come.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Now, as we wind this down, to the adults in the audience who are listening to this, you have children who are in that sweet spot of like 15 to 19 where they're kind of bored. They're going to make some bad decisions. There is a Jackass movie coming out this summer, so I expect a spike in behavior like
Alrighty.
this.
Let's hit a break and talk about Ty Simpson coming up next here in Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, well, trying to hit a couple different things here when it comes to football across the country. Let's first start. I'm going to start in the NFL first, and then we're going to transition to Husker football. Talk a little stadium. Tom Chattel wrote an article yesterday at oha.com that I want to kind of press on a little bit. I think what Tom said was it's what Tom wrote yesterday was correct. Correct. For some, it was probably hard to read. And it was one of those things where maybe you don't love being told that, but he was correct in his take. And it also relates to something that we were talking about with Michael Severe that I want to get into. But before we do that, we'll go ahead and talk about a report out of ESPN today that apparently Ty Simpson had to have secret meetings with Sean McVay before the draft process, so no one would know. Simpson said in the article, it was something that I knew they were interested, but they wanted to make it private and didn't want people to know that they were interested. So I had a great secret meeting with Coach McVay, and I just was trying to be on script and do everything they told me not to tell everybody. Okay? First off, let's break this down from a Simpson agent perspective, right? When you're told, hey, we're interested in you at 13, and Sean McVay is interested in drafting you, okay? I think a lot of agents would say, oh my God, this is great. We could go around and start telling people, hey, Rams are interested at 13, right? Sean McVay is interested in my client. The Sean McVay is interested in my client. Sean McVay wants to draft Ty Simpson. If you're going to go and get Ty, Arizona, if you're going to go and get Ty, New York, if you're going to go and get my client, you got to get to at least 12. You got to get to at least 13. You got to get into the top 10. And you know what that means for Ty Simpson? It means more money, right? It means, hey, if you get drafted at 7, 8, 9, 10, you're making more money than you would be drafted at 13. This also communicates to me as well the fact that the LA Rams know that if McVay and their franchise gets attached to Simpson, then Simpson is more likely to go elsewhere. It just conveys to you how much influence Sean McVay has on the league, where just him being interested and him evaluating Ty Simpson in a way where he believes that he is a much higher draft pick than what everybody else basically thought he was. The fact that they had to keep that under wraps because their chances of drafting him were going to be so much worse if people found out about it also communicates how much influence this guy has. And that's before we get into his tree, which includes 6 NFL head coaches and 7 coaches overall, if you include Jed Fish. It's just one of those things where it's like the power this guy has and his thought process of things influences the league at a rate that I don't know if any other head coach right now does it. Because this run of 22 tight ends being drafted in this draft is because of this guy. It's because that in November and December, we started noticing, wow, the Rams are using 3 tight ends a lot. They're using 13 personnel more than any other team in the league. Wow, their run game with Blake Corum and Kyron Williams has taken a step up. And then they got the kid from Ohio State in the draft to add to that repertoire. But I think everybody else is looking around and seeing, and it's a copycat league. And if you're going to copy anybody, especially on the offensive end, you copy the guy who has made his hay for almost the last decade of being the offensive savant of the league, along with others. But, you know, I look at the Bears draft and I go, this is all, the Bears drafted who they drafted all because of the NFC West. The Bears looked at the Seattle Seahawks and what they were doing on defense with how multiple they were with their safeties, and it stemmed from their safeties. And what did Chicago do? Oh, we're going to get Seattle safety in Kobe Bryant. We're going to get their free safety, and then we're going to draft another one in the first round. Even though that we spent a lot of money and one of our top priorities was already establishing that position, we're going to get Tiedemann to be the strong safety. And then what do they do in the third round? The second round, rather. They already have Cole Kmet. Guy's been in the league for quite some time. Very solid tight end, very good tight end. Got him on contract for a bit. They used the 10th overall pick on a tight end last year, and Colston Loveland, who by the end of the year looked like the best tight end out of the draft, even better than Tyler Warren, who had one hell of a start for Indianapolis. But Loveland and what he was able to do at the end of the year, including the playoffs, I think, in my opinion, established him as the best tight end of that draft class. And one of the best, both of them, Warren and Loveland, are two of the best offensive weapons to come out of that draft. They go, no, we're going to take another one. We're going to take one. We're going to take Eli Skowers out of Stanford, who blocks his butt off, but also, especially if you go back and you watch some of his Miami tape, can catch the ball as well. And so the NFC West was one of, if not the greatest conference or the greatest division last year in NFL history. 3 teams, double-digit wins, 3 teams in the playoffs. 2 of them were the NFC representatives, could go to the Super Bowl. There then the NFC champion came out of the West. The Super Bowl champion came out of the West. Super Bowl champion that kicked the crap out of the AFC team. It was quite the division last year, but you go ahead and you're like, all right, yeah, these teams are good, but they're also just incredibly influential in the 2 different masterminds on both sides of the ball that they have running the 2 best teams in that division of Mike McDonald and Sean McVay. So I just found it, I read this article today, and I just found it so incredible that the LA Rams, when they go ahead and identify a quarterback prospect, have to keep it under wraps. They have to have confidential secret meetings because they're afraid that if anybody gets wind that they're interested in the quarterback prospect, that that's going to lead to that prospect no longer being available to them. Quite fascinating. What's also fascinating too is kind of the unveil and the rolling out of the Big Red Rebuild. Have you been to BigRedRebuild.com, Mr. Josh Hodgson?
I have not.
I'm going to tell you right now.
I'm going right now. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm a sucker for a good website. Like I am
on a construction project.
No.
Okay.
Just in general.
Okay.
Like if you have a good website that is colorful, that is convenient, that is informative, that I can just scroll through very easily, that lacks ads, I am a fan. Okay. Whoever made this website, mazel tov. I mean,
okay,
incredible stuff.
Skokie, stand up.
I mean, dude, it's a very impressive website that they made. If you have any questions about what, number one, the stadium rebuild is going to look like, how long it's going to take, what they're specifically going to do, and then how the reseating is going to take place, you can find it all here on BigRedRebuild.com. I want to, though, read you one thing in terms of the football reset frequently asked questions. So they go ahead and they describe, what a reseat is, right? And in terms of you're reassigning all season tickets, in terms of locations, you're giving people opportunity to move up or move to a different spot or whatever it might be. And there definitely is a priority list that is based on how much you're willing to give and stuff like that. And there definitely is a pecking order that has a lot to do with some financial contributions. Dan explained it terrifically when they went through the reseeding process for volleyball, right? He described somebody who donated a massive amount of money and couldn't get to where they wanted to get to because of what the structure was. And so, in football, you're going to go through that same reseeding process. And this process across college sports typically happens every decade or so. Okay. Well, it hasn't happened at Nebraska in quite some time. And there's a lot of panic in particular because of what I'm about to read to you. The frequently asked question is, will legacy priority seating contribution rates be discontinued? Yes, beginning in 2027, Nebraska will discontinue legacy priority seating contribution rates. All season ticket holders will be required to pay the full priority seating contribution associated with their seat selection. This change will also help streamline and improve the annual season ticket renewal experience. And so immediately when you tell people, hey, your legacy tickets,
hey, we know you've been paying $50 for a season ticket for the last
yeah.
75 years.
Yeah.
That's no longer the case. You will not be doing that.
That
we will be getting more money and a donation from you.
Freaks a lot of people out, man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You go, and Tom Chattel and Omaha.com. I give so much kudos to Tom because he says the very difficult thing out loud. But it's true, and he goes and he has a great excerpt here, an antidote. So Tom writes, there's no controversy in college football like a season ticket upheaval. I vividly remember when Missouri ripped up its football ticket policy and began charging extra for the right to buy a season ticket. That was 1978. Nebraska fans have had a pretty good run. I recall a newspaper story about Husker fans back in the 1980s that told of how some older fans put their season tickets in their will, like a family heirloom. That happens.
Absolutely.
Everyone knows people who are like, hey, when I go, you're getting my season tickets, right? You're the one who gets them. And so, it means people, and this is why I love sports. It's like season tickets are more than just you sitting in a seat and watching a game. Over a period of time, you build a community, right?
You're going to the same tailgate every weekend. You're making the same friends.
For 20 years, you have the same seats. You sit next to the same people.
Yep.
You talk to them about the same team. You all have rooted interests, and you get to know each other. And like you mentioned, Josh, you go to tailgates or you go out to the bar after, or it's, that at the beginning of the, anytime that you go to Wrigley Field and you sit in section 120, row 4, 2 rows behind you is Sandy, 1 row ahead of you is Michael. His ex-wife, Margaret, always used to come, but since he's been recently remarried, so now his new wife, Janice, shows up. Like, I'm making these jokes, but that's how it works. Like, that exists, and that exists across sports, and especially exists in Memorial Stadium. And so when you say the term reseat, and then you add that with discontinuation of legacy, that's that discontinuation, people freak out. People get nervous and people go, what's going to happen? And I think Chattel kind of puts it the best he kind of can. He says, quote, I sympathize with you folks. You've had it good and you've had it this way for a long, long time. But here's a gentle reminder. Fans do not own the tickets. They belong to the school. Fans basically lease them. The no legacy seats policy is tough, but it's fair. And I think this is when we have the discussion, unfortunately. And I think I'm lucky enough to have grown up in a pro sports city in a way to explain to people that there is definitely a difference between how college athletic departments view their fans and how pro sports departments view their fans. For a very, very long time, college athletic departments viewed their fans and their alumni as part of the family. You are part of our family. You are integral to what we do here. Without your love, without your support, we wouldn't be this big. And so we're going to treat you well and we're going to do right by you, right? Pro sports departments do not look at their fan bases like that. There are no alumni.
And the fans know, that's the owner's greedy. It's an owner.
We all know it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't graduate from Hallis Hall. Okay.
You didn't.
I didn't go to school at Wrigley Field. And the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago Bears, and especially these massive, massive market pro sports teams, they're more likely to look at you not as a part of a family, but as a dollar sign, as a customer, as a consumer. Chicago Cubs know. The Chicago Bears know they can treat their fans like crap. The Jets, the Giants, the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers, whomever. They can treat them like crap, and they're still going to show up to the games. They can charge them $20 for a beer, and they're still going to buy that warm Budweiser in the bleachers. And if you don't become a fan, if you're still not a fan, well, you know what? Somebody else is going to be like, oh, they're going to put on that Dodger jersey, and they're going to root for them. And unfortunately, because of the financials and where we are in sports, we're seeing athletic departments and college sports teams. I'm not saying that the Nebraska athletic department is looking at you like a dollar sign, but they have to shift a little bit more. They have to dip their toe more into being the corporate financial pool, because now they have massive expenses that they weren't paying for. Guys, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, they didn't have to pay a football team $40 million to be competitive. Okay? That's just the reality of the situation now.
Competitive-ish.
There is yes. Be around there. You want to be around. You don't want to be at top, but you want to be around.
Sure.
But that's a massive added expense. Okay? And the fact of the matter is that they're not the only ones that got to fit the bill, right? It's everybody's got to put a little bit in the hat, and you can't blame them. You can't blame them. You can't blame them, and you can't be pissed at them, because that's the game they have to play now.
Not to sound like a Richard, but someone's going to call into unsportsmanlike conduct later this week and go, "We've had tickets in my family for 40 years. It's what we do each and every Saturday. I've shared it with my family. It's just what we've always done." And
that's
great, cool story. It doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't. And let's be real. It's called spade a spade. That sucks.
It does suck.
It sucks. It sucks.
But there's also someone behind you waiting for that season ticket that will give a donation to the university, and they can't not take it anymore.
Bingo. They can't. It's just it's the sign of the times.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Stop your crying. Everything's gonna be all right.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to feel feelings about it.
I was quoting a song there.
Oh,
if you
sorry.
Want,
Sorry.
If you want to be upset about it, I don't blame you for being upset. But I would be more upset at just this situation and not necessarily the people who are doing what you think they're doing to you, because guys, they got to do it. They got to do it. And I'll tell you this right now, though. Even though we're having this shift, okay, and like I described it, college athletic departments viewed their fans and viewed their alumni more as a part of the family, as pro sports fans viewed their fans as a dollar sign. While there is that shift happening from family member to customer, it's still going to be better than what the pro sports teams do.
Absolutely.
Because it's I live in I got Jerry Reinsdorf is the owner of one of my teams. Okay. I've lived my entire life with that man not giving a damn what I think. But he still knows I'm going to buy Alonzo Ball jersey. He still knows that I'm going to go to the games. He still knows that when the Bulls are in the playoffs, which has been forever, I'm going to watch those games. And it just kind of is what it is, and that's what college sports is shifting to. And I'll tell you this right now, this is a pretty massive shift for Nebraska fans. This is a pretty big one. Something they haven't done. Like, it's going to be maybe not as seismic, but this is something that's going to happen a lot across college sports, right? The shift of how the athletic department and the decisions that they have to make, in particular about the financials and how they gain those financials. That's something that everybody is going to be experiencing across the country, because if you're trying to be competitive in this sport, everybody now has a $30, $40, $50 million, increase in expense. So I commend Chattel greatly. I don't think that's an easy thing for Tom to write. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who read what Tom wrote and are going to be upset with Tom or disagree with Tom, or he's going to get some backlash about it. But I don't think he's wrong. It's hard. It's hard words to write, and it's even harder to read, especially when you are a part of the group that's being affected. But I would go as far as to say that this is a situation, and maybe it's a lack of a better term, but I would probably more equate this to don't hate the player, hate the game.
Another song reference.
And this is kind of the game now. And it sucks.
Yes, it was better then.
But it's the game. And we're all going to play it. We're all going to play it until we don't play it anymore. But I don't think that's happening anytime soon. All righty, Tim Verghese read a big article. Kind of broke down everything that was going around. The Nebraska Athletic Department had a couple of visitors over the weekend, along with some commitments and other developments that have been happening in and around Lincoln when it comes to the high school recruiting scene. We'll ask some tough questions to Tim. I don't know if Tim's listening, but I got a tough question for Tim that I'm excited to ask him because it dips into his expertise. We'll do that next. Top 10 Tuesday is the day of the week. That is going to be at 1 o'clock. And then at some point, we're going to play a little fun game where I give Josh Odson some names. And he tells me, is that a Kentucky Derby horse? Or is that what Matt McMaster would name his horse? We do that and more coming up here on Middays with Matt.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Don't forget to go to 1620thezone.com and enter in for a chance to win all sorts of tickets, either across the metro here in Omaha or also as well in Lincoln. There's some great events going on there. So we have plenty of opportunities for you to go ahead and win some tickets at 1620thezone.com. Some include, Chris Stapleton, the Black Keys, the Young Giant, George Thorogood, the Destroyers. So go ahead, 1620zone.com. Check that out. And don't forget about our zone deal for this week at Woodcliff Restaurant, voted Omaha's best outdoor patio. It's perfect for a romantic dinner for two or a dinner with the family. Enjoy all of Woodcliff's delicious food with a perfect view off of Woodcliff Lake. Don't miss Thursday's weekly special burger or Friday's fish special. With this week's deal, get two $25 gift vouchers for just $25 starting at 9 a.m. Friday under the deals tab at 1620zone.com. Listen all week to One Sportsmanlike Conduct for a chance to win $50 of gift vouchers into the Woodcliff Restaurant. We are joined by the one, the only, the impeccable, the player analysis and evaluation connoisseur, Mr. Tim Verghese. How are you, Tim?
Hey, how we doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm just chilling. I'm chilling like a villain, having a good time here on the radio show, reading your article about Nebraska's latest recruiting intel. 1,300 words, Tim. Can we trim it down a little bit? Can we spark note it just slightly, my friend?
Yeah, of course. We can TLDR it.
just a little bit. So look, I was reading through the article, skimming through it, looking at some of the names. You brought up a lot of the names that we're familiar with, right? In the beginning of the article, talking about Tay Ellis, Caden Howard as well. Howard's still taking some visits. I believe you've talked about Alvarez out of Don Bosco before, and you've written about him and his recruitment. But one thing that I found here, Tim, and this is a bit of a longer question, so give me a second, is, there's a massive emphasis right now on finding that next wide receiver here in this 2027 class. And a lot of these prospects that you write about are wide receivers that Nebraska is interested in, or either bringing them on official visits or battling other teams for. And you go through the history of Matt Rule at Nebraska. I would take a guess if you ask me, hey, Matt, what is the number one position they recruited for or recruited at the most? I would probably tell you it's wide receiver. There has been a lot of investment at the wide receiver position, whether it be Malachi Coleman, Jalen Lloyd, Isaiah Nair. You had, I guess Castaneda was early on, but he still came back, right? Jamal Banks is in there. Dane Key, obviously, this year. You got an Isaiah Hunter, along with Cortez Mills and Ja'Cory Barney. The list goes on and on and on of all these different wide receivers that Nebraska has recruited either out of high school or out of the transfer portal. And yet, 3 years in, they haven't had a wide receiver drafted into the NFL. Now, some of that is because of eligibility, but not in the case of some of these transfer portal guys. And then you look at Indiana, and they had Omar Cooper drafted this year. They had Surratt drafted this year. And then they're going to probably have Nick Marsh and Becker, their other wide receivers, probably go pretty high up in next year's draft. Why hasn't Nebraska, even though they've made a great investment in the wide receiver position, why haven't they've been able to develop that position to get them to the next level?
Yeah, so some of it I think is, one, I think you have to again do this in two parts of the previous previous wide receivers coach and the new wide receivers coach. And what they were doing early on and how they were evaluating position versus how they're doing it now. I think you've seen a change under DeKeel Shorts in true development. You guys have been out of practice. You've been out of practice. You've seen, I would say for those of you that have not, it's night and day in terms of what the wide receivers are doing now compared to what they were doing, 2 years ago. And that is part of that is Dana Holgerson, his influence and his, emphasis on the wide receiver position. But of course, it extends down to DeKeel Shorts and what he's done. And so, I think you look back on what the receivers Nebraska's had and the guys that, he could have, I think in another world, in a world where, maybe Nikhil Shorts is overseeing the room, maybe we do see, because he's stuck around in the league. I mean, maybe we do see Isaiah Nair get drafted instead of, slip out of the draft. Maybe we do see some of that. And I think right now, I mean, the last 2 years, for example, they just really haven't had the opportunity. I mean, now you do have to turn around and say, well, okay, well, Nikhil Shorts did get Dane Key, a guy he worked with at Kentucky and was productive at Kentucky, brought him to Nebraska and wasn't as productive, ultimately didn't get drafted, and has been signed by the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, that's a question. But I mean, we felt this way. I think the most pro ready, or the NFL body types at receiver on Nebraska's roster are still eligible, are still on the roster. It's Isaiah Hunter, it's Ja'Cory Barney, it's Quasi Gilmer, like those three guys. Plus, I would throw in Jenner Bonner, depending on what Nebraska gets out of him, in there as guys I think that are capable of playing in the league with another year. But like with a lot of other positions, it has to come together. We have to see this in the fall from Isaiah. We need to see a more developed route tree from him. From Ja'Cory, we need to see, a little more durability. We need to see him maybe open things up a little bit as well. And from Quasi, it's just continue to do what he did. I think he's already on NFL Raiders after his strong first 2 seasons at UCLA. What can happen with Quasi is what happened with Dane. You can't have his production drop off. You can't have him kind of taper off in terms of his development either. Like that he needs to stay on top of it, and you need to get production, because that needs to get changed. Nebraska, like you said, has invested a lot into this position. They're recruiting this position at a high level. And I think to this point, Nikhil Shorts' resume, what he's done, what he did at Kentucky, what he did at Houston. I mean, guys pay close attention to Tank Dell, Matthew Golden, and Barry and Brown, guys that he had and work with across his career. But at some point, it's got to come together at Nebraska. He's now going on year 3 here. Or technically this would be his second full season here. But we'll see. I'm curious to see what happens. Obviously, moving forward, I do think they need to get some production there, because I mean, you look at this 27 class too. This is where I think things are starting to come to a head in that sense. You look at the receivers Nebraska still on. They have 2 3-star commits, one in Tay Ellis, one in Caden Howard. Again, they're still doing work to hold on to Caden. They're in it for a few 4-stars, including Matthew Gregory, a top 100 player, a potential 3-phase contributor. Khalil Taylor, one of the top receivers in the country out of Pennsylvania. Alvarez, as we mentioned earlier, a 3-star, but could get bumped up to a 4-star before it's all said and done. Then recently offered 4-star wide receiver Miles McAfee out of Archbishop Spalding out there in Maryland. And I don't know for sure if they land a 4-star receiver this cycle. That's something where I think they're going to put together a good group of receivers. They may not have the stars people want, and they may not have the star ability people want, but they're going to be sound receivers. That's what needs to change moving forward. Is Nebraska needs to be able to make these type of splashes, and show. And the only way to do that is show production. I think, again, a good year, you have a chance to really fix that in a hurry. A good year from Ja'Cory and Quasi and Isaiah, catching passes from Anthony Calandria, all of a sudden you do have, 3 receivers right there, plus potentially Bonner, who could get drafted. And this can change in a hurry, just like, a couple narratives. The offensive line narrative can change in a hurry. If Christian has the year he has, Justin Evans has the year we think he's capable of. They can change the narrative, but like we've talked about with a few different positions now, with this team just in general, you need to show up on the field.
Because we still have, and you in particular have your scouting and evaluation hat on after coming off of the NFL draft. Let's talk about Ja'Cory Barney from an NFL draft perspective. In his career, 931 yards, 100 receptions in 2 seasons, 26 games played. Average yards per game is 37. His average reception last year was 11. What do you think obviously the speed is there, right? I mean, the speed is there. The yards after the catch are there. His short route ability is up there. And honestly, too, I was impressed last year. We saw him, be able to convert on some of the longer routes down the field that we didn't see him do in year 1. What are maybe some of the I don't want to say defects is a terrible word for it, but maybe the pushback that would come against Ja'Cory being drafted in the NFL draft? Is it the durability? Is it size? What do you think that Ja'Cory needs to do to be that next wide receiver selected from Nebraska?
Yeah, I think it's durability. I think that's the big question. I mean, you saw him go down a little too much last year, go down on first contact in particular a little bit too much last year. The question with him is going to be that durability. And I don't know if the size is as much of a question. I think when he first came to the program, that was a big question. But as we kind of get further along into his development, and you start to see, I mean, we saw it earlier this offseason, he was training with Tank Dell. Tank Dell is one of those guys where, okay, the size was a real concern coming out of college. And, you've seen exactly why. He's not played a full season just yet. He's had multiple season-ending injuries. Barney's bigger. Barney's significantly bigger at this point, and I don't know at this point if his size is to the point where it's a concern. He's going to be on the lower end from a size standpoint, just in terms of height and weight, and what they need in the league. But I don't know if it's to the point now that it's a concern. I think it's just going to be he's going to be a smaller receiver if he ends up at the next level. And so that's going to be the thing. I think the durability, being able to maintain balance through contact, being able to create a little more after the catch, showing some of the yak ability. But I think what he's done on the special team side of things, what he's shown both as a guy who can take manufactured touches and a guy that can work the route tree.
Yeah.
He's done enough to this point to earn some NFL buzz, to earn some looks. But yeah, I think he needs to continue putting that together because he's got a chance to go. I mean, Tank Dell was a second-round pick. He's got a chance to be that dynamic slot receiver that teams are looking for, and the value he brings on special teams will only help his draft stock. But it needs to come, it needs to come together. I think the durability needs to show. He needs to show more contact balance. And I would say one other thing I think with him, I'd like to see more, and I don't think it's an issue. Again, as far as I know, it's not an issue, but getting outside of his frame, bringing in some tough catches, and just being a consistent hand grabber, just making sure that's not a question at all. That's one thing I think with receivers where, you saw a few. I mean, KC, that was a big question around him was he's had 19 drops across his career, but you go back and watch the tape, it's not a real issue. It's part of it is the quarterback throwing him the ball. Part of it is miscommunication, whatever that looks like. I didn't think the 19 drops were a real issue for Casey when you go back and watch the tape. But you don't want that question out there. You don't even want that question to be there.
Sure. I think with Jacory, what I noticed last year was just they had less jet sweeps, right? And I think that they did less jet sweeps and jet touch passes because he was able to get open more, right? And I think that his route running took a step up. But you're spot on, Tim. I don't really remember. I don't really harken back to too many memories of Jacory really having to leap up and beat a corner, right, to go and get the ball. I don't have too many memories of him being super strong to the point of attack, right, and attacking that ball. And that's a quality in which is being super valued right now in the NFL. It's in part because of Puka Nacua. But then look at a guy like Omar Cooper Jr. What round does Omar Cooper Jr. get drafted in 3 years ago? I don't think he's going in the first round. And so some of the things that we are really favoring now in terms of the development of wide receivers is, maybe not some of the things that Jacory does best, but at the same time, when you turn on the tape and you see how fast he is and how elusive he can be, it's just, there were moments last year where it's like, you thought he got touched, right? And then he went down. And so I love what you said there, the contact balance. That's definitely a great point. Nebraska, so this is a great stat. Josh Peterson said it on USC yesterday. 48% of the draft picks from the NFL draft came from the transfer portal. They had entered the transfer portal at one point in their career. Nebraska has no draft picks out of the transfer portal. Real quickly, before we let you go, is that an evaluation thing? Does Nebraska have to change evaluations, or is that development thing? Is there anything to pinpoint, or is it just kind of been luck of the draw at this point?
Somewhat luck of the draw, but yeah, I mean, I think evaluation, and again, it's part of the conversation we've had on. You have to evaluate the staff somewhat in two parts. Unfortunately, I don't love the, not to say I don't know how much you read into some of the early transfers to get the guys that are now out into the league versus the guys they have coming back. The transfers they have, like we talked about, a lot of these guys that are, have a chance to be drafted to end some of these narratives for Nebraska are transfers. And Isaiah, Elijah Pritchett, on the defensive side of the ball, Williams and Renari, and so they have a chance to again, correct that narrative next year. This was just one of those drafts. This was a very young team, of course. They didn't send all that many players to the draft. But yeah, I mean, we're headed out now. We're heading on year 4 of this. So something needs to change. Of course, they need to start producing. You can't talk around this of, well, that's the previous staff. People want to see results.
Yeah.
And those results need to happen sooner rather than later. And it starts with on the field this fall, and ideally it carries on into next year's draft. But yeah, in the meantime, definitely a lot of concerns, a lot of hand wringing about the development around here, just from what we've seen, the fact that, this is where it's at. So we'll see. We'll see.
Tim Verghese of Inside Nebraska and Rivals, you are the man, my friend. Thank you so much for always coming on here, giving us great stuff, as always.
Of course, appreciate you guys.
See ya, Timmy V. Coming up next, we're going to play a game. Former Derby horse, or what Matt McMaster would name his horses if I had enough money to own one.
Someday.
Life goals, number 1, move to Brainerd, Minnesota. Have a house up there.
Okay.
Probably on the Whitefish chain or Gull Lake. If you know, you know. Number 2, have a house in Arizona so I can golf all the time. That would be great. That's life goal number 2.
The McDermott.
Life goal number 3 would be to own a horse. I'm gonna be real. I'm in an industry that is probably the wrong one to have all of those lavish and luxurious goals.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Those are top 3. Coming up next, though, I tell you what I would name those horses if we had the Mick Horse Barn, if you will. The McRanch.
McRanch. That I can't believe that's not a thing yet.
You know what? They'll make it a thing, and we'll make it a thing. Coming up next here on Middays with Matt Da Show.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Derby Day.
Derby week here at 1620 Zone. Josh and I going to be having some mint juleps in our suits on Friday. So excited. Was very mad at the morning show today because they did not do the Kentucky Derby race simulator. Should we do a sim here? Want to do a quick sim?
Derby sim of the day.
All right, Derby sim of the day here coming up. I will announce it for all of us as if I am on the call here. I've been practicing my entire life. I think if I were to be a play-by-play guy, I'd probably be terrible at doing horse racing. All right, new sim. Ready?
Ready.
And they're off. 6-speed, further ado, Pavlovian setting the pace as expected with litmus test in the front now as they get to the 4 furlong marker. A fast 46.2 second 4 furlong to start here as litmus test with further ado behind him. With Potente now pushing the pace here. They're coming to the 3/4 marker, making the corner. Now they're down the stretch.
Let's go.
Further ado with litmus test right behind him. Renegade pushing. Further ado, going to get challenged by Commandment, and it's ado at the wire. Further ado wins the 152nd Kentucky Derby.
Wow.
Commandment behind him with Chief Wallaby.
Best 2 minutes of my life each and every year, guys.
$2 exacta would pay $83.30. A $1 trifecta would pay $441, and a $1 superfecta, $1,212 there. Let's do the game. Kentucky Derby horse, or what Matt McMaster would call.
Now you just said a lot of names of Kentucky Derby horses.
I didn't use any of the current Kentucky Derby horses.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
I used old Kentucky Derby horses. That way we would not know if it's the current field or not.
I was going to say, we'll see what my retention level is.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Number 1, Rain Dance. Matt McMaster's name or a real Kentucky Derby horse?
Now, just to clarify,
yes.
This year's field is the only horses that we're taking, right?
No, I've found everybody else's, like I've used from the past.
Okay.
It's nobody in this year's field is on this list.
Okay.
Rain Dance. Kentucky Derby.
That's a real horse.
Fake.
Ah.
Matt 1, Josh O.
Okay.
Number 2, Passing Wind.
See, you want me to say that that's a McMaster horse. I'm going to go real horse.
It is a real horse.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Hodson gets it. Number 3, Pressing Matter. Pressing Matter. Matt McMaster horse or Kentucky Derby horse?
I will go McMaster horse.
It is a McMaster horse.
Let's go.
Correct. Number 4, Collateral.
Real horse.
Fake.
Oh, good horse name.
Thank you. I'm good at this. All right. Number 5, Gun Runner.
Real horse.
Real horse. Great name. Phenomenal name. Number 6, Danza.
Danza? That's got to be a real horse.
That is a real horse.
You don't know who Tony Danza is.
I bet on Danza. He lost. 7, Big Truck.
Big Truck. I'm going to go McMaster.
No, that's a real horse. That was a real horse. All right, number 8, Spiral Ham.
I know you like a Spiral Ham, so I'm going to say McMaster.
It is a McMaster horse. Now, that was actually taken from Pardon My Take. That's what they named. They had a famous horse race. All right, number 9, Third Divorce.
Ooh. I'll go real horse.
Matt McMaster name. I would name my horse Third Divorce. How funny is that?
That's a good one.
That'd be like everyone would be like, I'm taking Third Divorce.
People would be talking about it in the stands.
You know, when they had like the actors and actresses like pick their horses, they'd be like, I've had a couple of these, you know. I've done this before. I'm taking Third Divorce. 10th and final horse. Arr.
Oh,
like a pirate.
Mm-hmm.
Arr.
I'm gonna go McMaster horse.
Arr won the Preakness Stakes.
Whoa,
that was a real horse that won the Preakness.
Somebody had to call that,
and they're coming down to the wire, and it's Arr.
How do you decide how many R's you've done?
I don't know. I have no idea. So there we go. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right.
That means I won. We only did 10, right?
You got 6 right. Yeah, wait, did you get third divorce right?
I don't think I did.
No, so 5.
So 5? Okay, I'll take
You
a
got
tie.
5.
I'll take a tie.
You got 5. You got 5 there. That was good. That was good. I was proud of myself. You got, out of the Matt McMaster horses, you got 1, 2. You only got 2 of them right. I won there. I did a pretty good job there. Good job, Josh. That was fun.
That was fun. I enjoyed that greatly.
Gun Runner is a great one. Gun Runner is like, I saw that one. I was like, I would bet on that horse immediately. I think Third Divorce, probably my best name. Collateral, though, strong. There probably was a horse at some point called Collateral. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Coming up next.
That's a good movie. You should watch that movie.
Okay, we'll add it to the list. We'll talk a little bit more college sports. We have some college basketball updates, and then we're going to get to Josh's top 10 coming up here on Middays with Matt.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
A couple of updates here in the land of college basketball. Arkansas, 5-star prospect from the class of 2026, a finished 7-footer. Mika Murin. Pretty big get for the John Calipari.
Helen Mirren has a kid that is playing at the chicken house.
Muurinen.
Oh, it's not spelled the same.
Murinen.
Okay.
Mika Muurinen. He's 6'10". He's a forward.
Hey, I don't know
from,
how to say the guy's name.
They were going after Kentucky was going after the guy, and Calipari got him from him. By the way, Arkansas has one hell of a recruiting haul.
That's a forehead.
They are number 7 in the CBS Sports preseason top 25, and they have one of the best, if not the best, recruiting haul so far.
His nickname is Slim Jesus.
Whoa, that's a little.
Did you know this about this guy?
No, I didn't know his nickname is. What is that? A basketball reference?
I don't know. They call him Slim Jesus.
But wasn't Jesus already slim?
Yeah, it seems redundant.
You know, like if you
is it the opposite of Slim Reaper, like Kevin Durant, one of his many nicknames?
But what is the opposite of the Grim Reaper? Who gives you life? I guess it is
Jesus.
I guess.
I am uncomfortable.
No, I am too. But I just, this isn't a religious thing. This is just Jesus, historical figure, was not a big guy. He was not.
Yeah. We don't call him Jolly.
Yeah, he wasn't. No, if they called him Slim Claus, Slim Santa, that would make sense. That
Chance in Texas in the YouTube chat says Fat Jesus would be a sick nickname.
Okay, so that is a good one. That is a really, really good one. Oh, Baymon goes, are you sure it's not Slim Yeezus?
I'm not. I'm just reading from Wikipedia, so grain of salt.
Who is the guy from NC State that led him to the Final Four?
Oh, the big guy.
Yeah.
NC State men's basketball big guy. DJ Burns.
Yeah, there it is. By the way, if you do look
got
that
any
up
nicknames?
exactly, Fat Jesus.
No way. Is his nickname Fat Jesus?
No.
Oh.
I don't know.
We calling him Fat Jesus?
No.
Okay.
Probably I don't want to make any fat jokes. I'm sorry.
No.
I don't want to be that crass. But anyway.
Some memorable moment in tournament history, DJ Burns.
There was a guy like he was throwing the ball. He was on TikTok like throwing a football, and he was a bigger guy, and everybody was like, "That's like they were like
We're talking about Dylan Raiola, right?
No,
what?
A social media guy who was
Dylan Raiola.
No, he was bigger, and he wasn't playing football, and they were like, "That's Lamar Biscuit," like. Like that was I think Kirk Calories was like the top comment. Like they were doing all the different
Internet's funny, man.
They were like Matthew Steak, like it was good. I think it was Ben Roethlisberger, but it was with burger.
Yeah,
Instead of URGER. So no, we're not. Slim Jesus makes no sense in terms of nickname. But anyway, the deadline to declare for the NBA draft, if you were in college basketball, was last. I think it was Saturday. It might have been. It was a couple of days ago. We saw multiple guys who we thought wouldn't go in. So it was actually yesterday. So yesterday was the deadline. I'm getting my email here. It was very interesting, like who entered. It was more interesting though who didn't enter. Tyler Tanner from Vanderbilt not going to the NBA draft. Elliot Cadeau not doing it. Andrei Stojakovic probably would have been a back half prospect. But a bunch of guys who had the potential if they had good combines and good interviews and who are just solid college basketball players who might have been able to go in the second round of the NBA draft decided, no, I'm going to stay in college, which is part of the conversation we've had about the quality of college basketball rising, because it's not just oh, the players are better, they're more athletic. It's just a lot of these guys who in the past would have for sure gone to the draft and been picked in the second round. They're now staying around because it's more financially beneficial for them to do that. Like a great example, we found this out today, Krivas, Mateus Krivas from Arizona. He's that big 7-footer who, without a doubt is going to be one of the best defenders in all of college basketball. On the NBA Tankathon big board was the 34th overall prospect. He's staying in school. He's going to play for Arizona. Same thing with Flory Badunga. He was one of the top transfer portal prospects. He's going to Louisville as opposed to going to the NBA draft. And we've seen this, a little bit throughout the entirety of college basketball. Just more and more guys that you would have thought maybe go into the draft and have the potential to be picked are deciding, no, I want to stay here. And that's part of the reason why the college basketball product is getting better. One name to keep an eye out for is, look, the deadline to enter the NBA draft was yesterday, April 27th. The deadline, though, to withdraw from the NBA draft is May 26th. So you can enter, and then you can withdraw before your name is solidified in there. A name that's bouncing around that could be coming back to college, which would really be an indication of the times that we're in college basketball, is Koa Pete. Koa Pete, the freshman last year from Arizona, he's mocked to go 18 to 25, and believe it or not, in the past, you're mocked to go in the first round. You're going. You're high,
Sure.
without a doubt. Now, 18 to 25, you might be paid more to go and play in college as opposed to go to the NBA draft, which is crazy to think about. And last year, Yaxel Lendenborg, he was a guy who was mocked to go, a little bit outside near the lottery in last year's NBA draft. He came back to school, won the Big Ten Player of the Year after transferring from UAB to Michigan. He's now projected to be a for sure NBA draft lottery pick. So one of those things where it's just like college basketball is getting better just because of the environment that we're in, and just more and more good players who in the past would have for sure jumped ship to be, to give themselves a shot at making an NBA roster, instead saying, hey, I'm going to be in a much more advantageous situation to not only make money, but also up my draft stock in some instances, as opposed to going to the draft. I don't think anybody yet, I think, someone might correct me here if I'm wrong, but off the top of my head, I think Lendenborg is probably the highest draft prospect who opted not to go to the NBA draft and stay in college. I don't know if we've had a top 10 prospect do that yet. It'll be interesting to see if we get there. Frankly, if Keaton Wagler went ahead and said, I didn't want to be in the NBA draft, and he decided to return to Illinois, that's a guy who's getting mocked anywhere from like 5 to 9. If he said, I'm going back to Illinois, I wouldn't have blamed him. I actually think he should go back to Illinois. I think he should go back, and, he would be a leading candidate to win Naismith Player of the Year. And yeah, would you be passing up, a lot of money up front? Absolutely. At the same time, they have a really, really good strength and conditioning program over there at Illinois. They would add more to his frame. They would add more to his body. I think he could definitely emphasize being more physical in college. And, go out and dominate the Big Ten and be the Big Ten Player of the Year potentially, and be, a top dude. And still, if he were to go back to college, have that year of play, be awesome, add that weight while dominating, you would still be only 20 years old. You still could be a top pick in the NBA draft. And so, obviously, the injury conversation is always that big dark cloud looming over these prospects, because you don't want to, go through that risk. And yeah, there is a possibility, albeit probably small, but still a possibility that if Wagler made that decision and, blew up his knee or tore his Achilles or had some terrible injury, that he would, sacrifice all of that money and all of that financial gain from being a top pick. At the same time, I think it's going to be really hard for him to develop in the NBA. I think it'll be harder for him to develop in the NBA as opposed to taking this year to add more of that frame, to be more physical and create your own shot, because I'm afraid for him that because of his size and where he's at, it's going to be harder for him to find his spots on an NBA court and go through that development, as opposed to if he were to gain that weight or gain that frame on the front end, and be able to experiment with things in college as opposed to the bigs. It'd be a little bit easier that way. So we'll see. He obviously, this all falls on deaf ears, because he's going to the NBA. But definitely a development that we're going to continue to look out for as these off seasons go on. Is okay, who in the back end of these drafts are deciding to stay in college. So quick little update there. Arkansas killing it in recruiting is a big takeaway, and Arizona getting some key guys back to their roster to make a big run next season. We'll see what happens with Koa Pete over the next month. Let's do our top 10. It's a top 10 Tuesday. Josh Odson gives us a top 10. I do not know the topic of the top 10, but it's Josh Odson's top 10 favorite
superheroes.
Okay.
Today is National Superhero Day.
Very good.
Now, we haven't done this before. You just want me to rattle them off?
I want you to go 10 to 1.
Sure.
By the way, sometimes I go online and I read top 10 lists and they start with 1.
Don't do that.
No, lead into
That's no fun for the reader.
10.
Iron Man.
Wow. Low.
Yeah, I probably have him lower than most people.
Now,
That's
I
for
do want to
sure.
remind people who don't know, Iron Man, like B tier, B class superhero in the comic books. Iron Man is not a big deal in the comics.
Not always. Not like he is in the movies. where
He
he's
is
like this-
he is S tier in the movies.
Yeah.
He is way more popular in the movies than he is in the comics. So maybe I can be okay with him being 10 if you're more basing off this on comics. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. 10 for Iron Man. Number 9, Josh Hodgson.
Number 9, Wonder Woman.
Okay. Wow.
I like reading Wonder Woman.
No, that's low.
Oh,
I mean, that's
okay.
a big
That was
one.
that reaction. Okay.
Yeah. All right, 8.
Number 8, Peacemaker. I like the show. It's funny. Entertains me.
7.
Spider-Man.
7?
Yeah, that's right. I said it.
7?
Guy's kind of a dork.
That's the point.
Kind of whiny.
No, but that's the point.
You know, I understand.
That's the charm of the character.
No, some may call it charming. Some might find it annoying.
Well, some might call it relatable.
Okay, if you want to relate to a dork, then that's on you guys.
Spider-Man 7. All right, 6.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
I always like Michelangelo.
Of course you like Michael.
Let's party, guys. Let's just eat pizza and party.
He is the 3rd best Ninja Turtle.
Okay.
It goes Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, Leonardo. Leonardo's a dweeb.
Over sciencey Donatello?
I love Donatello.
Okay.
I think Donatello's funny as hell.
I like your list.
And Raphael's a badass.
Yeah.
And Mikey's Mikey. And then Leonardo's like, hey, come on, guys. We all got to get together. And I'm the leader. And he's so insecure. He's just an insecure leader.
Ooh, okay.
He's always challenged. Like,
I could see that.
Is
actually,
Raph
yeah.
is Raph a piece of crap? Absolutely, Raph is
Sure.
a piece of crap. But he shouldn't be pushing around Leonardo as much as he's picking TMNT. Now, I push back a little bit that you putting the entire Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as one superhero.
Okay.
I think if we were doing the ranking of superhero teams, that would
Okay.
probably be better.
A fair critique. I had not thought of that.
Now, if you said straight up Michelangelo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I would have reached back there and slammed your head to the keyboard.
Chance in Texas says Spidey is immature and the turtles aren't.
I was about to say that all they do is live in a sewer, eat pizza, and want to talk to girls even though they're turtles.
Yeah, sounds like pretty cool teenager stuff. Unlike,
did you watch the new one, the cartoon one, when they're a little baby boy and they make Master Splinter like a dweeb? Or not Splinter. Who's the? I'm blanking. Their dad.
Splinter.
Oh, Splinter. Who's the main villain?
Shredder.
Shredder. I always get
Played by Kevin Nash in a movie once.
Really?
Yes.
5.
Captain America.
Fine.
Y'all gonna hate on America now?
No.
Didn't think so.
No. Great pick. 5 is exactly where I would put him. I would put him exactly at 5.
Yeah.
4.
Wolverine.
Yeah. I'm so curious to know the 3 superheroes you have over Wolverine.
Over Wolverine? Okay.
By the way, Only one woman on this list. Very telling.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Probably be more than most people would have on their list
Very
if we're
good.
being honest with each other.
We are. You're totally right. All right. Wolverine 4. I can't believe you have 3 people over Wolverine. Who is your third?
Deadpool.
Okay. Yeah. That's fine. Contrarian, but cool.
Okay.
But cool.
Fair.
Cool. 2.
Daredevil. Just something about reading Daredevil. I love reading Daredevil. Just we're not going to space. We're gonna keep it in the neighborhood. We're not going very far. I like that.
So if you were to tell me that you would have 2 borough-based New York superheroes.
That's right.
And your borough-based New York superhero that was higher than any borough-based New York superhero was Daredevil, I would have been shocked.
Yeah, it's probably a surprise.
All right, someone's called their shot. Is Punisher number 1?
No. Do I look like a guy who has sunglasses on his profile?
I think
pic?
you're gonna go Thor.
You're gonna like my number 1 pick,
All right,
Matt.
who's your number 1 pick?
It's Batman.
Yeah, it's got to be.
I didn't have a Batman themed graduation party, but I do like Batman. He has the best villains.
Ooh, does Batman have the best villain? Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Riddler, Bane. Yeah. Deathstroke would be. I would count Deathstroke.
Yeah. This is a far superior list to anyone.
Superman's villains suck.
You'll notice he was not on the list.
He's not on my list.
No.
Oh, everyone going, Joker, you missed Joker. Guys, I know the Joker is the villain. You have to say all the other ones, though. Okay? Like the Penguin. Do we count? Okay, so my number 1 would be Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 would be Wolverine.
Okay.
Then 3
not triggered.
3 would be Spider-Man. You're gonna get pissed at this one, but this is who I am. 4 would be Red Hood.
You like those tiny baby boys in the Batman universe?
I like Jason Todd. I think Jason Todd is now. Is Red Hood a hero or a villain? I think would be a very good conversation because he does have a villain-based cartoon movie, Under the Red Hood, a phenomenal one.
I agree.
Okay.
Good take, Matt.
Under the Red Hood is awesome. Killing Joke, the one that was made into a cartoon, the Killing Joke one where Batman and Barbara have a thing. Did you see this one?
I have read it. I've seen it.
They where Oracle gets sexualized.
That's right.
Not a big fan. Don't like the Killing Joke.
I find it to be overrated, but fine.
Under the Red Hood slaps. 5. You've left a lot of good ones out here.
Sure. Everyone make your own list.
You've left a lot of good ones
Easy
out.
to criticize, hard to make your own list.
No, it's not hard to make my own list. I'm just deciding between 4 different people right now. I would go ahead and say Iron Man would be my 5. 6, Flash for sure. 7. Now this is where it gets tough. Let me go with Falcon. 8. I'm not putting Hulk on this list.
Oh, okay.
I don't like Hulk.
I'm not making you.
I'm not a Hulk guy.
I want to like Hulk more than I
don't.
do. A little too much science
I'm not a
for me. A
Hulk
little
guy.
too much. Just
Red
Hulk. I like Red Hulk. Those
but
stories are fun.
Yeah, but that's a great villain.
Yeah.
No, I don't like that guy. Oh, this is a bad one. I would put Wonder Woman at 8 because I got to get her there. And then 9. Now this is a more of a I love Paul Rudd, but I put Ant-Man 9.
Okay.
10.
He did a great job with that character.
10. I would go Beast from the X-Men.
Okay.
I love Beast and X-Men. Looking at your 10, we've gone opposite here. You've put some heavy hitters up on the front, and then you've definitely respected your own craft on the bottom. I've kind of gone the opposite, going Batman, Wolverine, Spider-Man. That's not very eccentric there.
Hey, the successes are the
I love
successes
it.
for a reason.
I love the TMNT pick from you.
Thank you. I debated like, does that count? Is it
I
good?
I
But,
love the TMNT.
I'll sit there and read those all day.
Okay, so Baymon goes, no Superman is just plain wrong. I'll say it. He's boring. I get bored. Okay. And I also think
guy can do everything. What's the challenge?
we also too now like you have to come up with new and creative ways to make Superman look bad.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are just like non-creative. You know what I'm saying?
We're always finding kryptonite
in all the places that we can ever possibly think of. There are some pretty controversial. Have you ever seen the different types of kryptonite and what they do to Superman?
I've heard of
yeah,
this.
there's some bad ones.
Yeah,
there's
some bad ones.
Well, non-PC ones for sure. Superman off this list. Superman's terrible. No Flash from you. I thought you would be a Flash guy.
No, probably haven't read enough of it to make a firm decision.
I think for Peacemaker, for me, it's just a little bit too soon. If that makes sense.
The like, there's hardly any comics. There's a couple graphic novels that are pretty good.
Now,
funny.
Deadpool, I will say I've read some Deadpool comics. Great. I think Ryan Reynolds is correct when he goes, he's kind of a side character more than anything.
He does very well in that.
But every movie that you would make about superheroes is vastly improved with Deadpool in it.
Okay, yeah.
I would say that Deadpool, from a movie perspective,
What a nice little shot in the arm that would be for
anytime
movie, yeah.
anytime Deadpool is in a movie, I think that movie gains a star. Is the best way I would describe. I'm still, so we're done here, but I'm just gonna say this. I love that you have TMNT. I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Let's go.
Then we need another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Oh yeah?
I would just take another one.
They're making one.
Or what if like we did a Disney Plus TMNT show, or we did a Netflix TMNT show? Is that out there? Like another one? Because I grew up watching the one on Cartoon Network.
Okay.
I grew up watching the TMNT cartoon shows.
There's a bajillion of them on Paramount.
But I would like one if we put in a lot of money and we really rolled out the red carpet and we were like, hey, new one coming out.
Hey, you'll get no argument from me.
Have you gotten your son into TMNT?
I've tried, not super successful.
Okay. We had the Mask growing up. We all had different. It was my two cousins and my brother.
Oh,
and I both had a mask.
I thought you were talking about the comic book hero, The Mask.
No. No. I don't even know. Isn't the Mask the Jim Carrey character?
Mm-hmm. Based on a comic book.
That was a comic book?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm a major casual. I know that if Michael Severe is listening to us, we're about to get some long text.
I'm surprised we haven't, so he must not be listening.
He cannot be listening because us putting Wolverine at 4 and 3 is definitely going to get him very, very mad. Let's talk about some things that get people kind of mad. We'll hit some miscellaneous marks. And I'm buying what somebody in Lincoln is selling. I'll tell you what I'm buying, and I'll tell you who's selling it, and I'll tell you exactly why. Coming up next on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
For all you baseball fans out there, I know we've been consuming the news of Rob Thompson being fired today from the Philadelphia Phillies. Our NL East correspondent, Josh Hudson, how do you feel about Mr. Thompson no longer being head coach of the Phillies after their 9-19 start?
Well, I mean, bad for me, a Braves fan who wanted the Phillies to continue to lose. But
they're bad. They were terrible.
Yeah, I mean, feels like this was going to be a move that was done at some point this year. You don't just go get Don Mattingly.
No. And well, I don't know about that. He signed a contract extension in December. So I don't know if it felt like it was going to happen at this point. And granted, I mean, they won 96 games last year, and they've won 2 of the last 3 NL East titles. And, you know, they won a pennant, 2 years ago at this point is when they played the Astros, 2-3 years ago when they played the Astros in the World Series. I mean, this is a guy that signed a contract extension in December and, you know, had received a lot of manager of the year votes over the last couple of seasons. But, you know, the Philadelphia Phillies have spent a lot of money on their roster. The Philadelphia Phillies have, you know, invested a ton, top to bottom, whether it be in the field and in pitching. And they expect to be a lot better than 9-19. As someone who's watched the Phillies play about 5 times this year, because the Chicago Cubs have played them and beaten them over and over and over again, they just seemed discombobulated. They just seemed out of it. It just seemed disconnected from a certain point of view. And, you know, they made some mistakes that you're really not used to the Phillies making, because the Phillies have been a very good team in the MLB for a couple of years now. And
watched them twice against the Braves this year already. The two series against the Braves already, and they're just out.
They're sloppy.
Their outfield is like taking weird routes to the ball, and they're not always getting there. Like just really lost weird decision making from the players.
They lost the first game of that Cubs series in Philadelphia just because they couldn't turn a double play. It was a routine double play ball. They couldn't turn it, and then the
I think
Cubs
they have the fewest in the league this season.
Yeah, the Cubs just took advantage of that error. And so it's just watching them play, they just seem kind of disconnected and out of it, when it's kind of shocking considering the fact all the star power that they have top to bottom on that roster. Dave Dombrowski is the general manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. He very famously hired Alex Cora to be the Red Sox manager all the way back in, I think it was in 2017, before they ended up winning the title in 2018. Wouldn't have shocked me if Dombrowski tried getting Cora to be the manager.
Oh, sure.
Of the Phillies. But still,
now.
Don Mattingly, who career record 890 and 950 here.
Oh, really?
Granted, 2 very different stints that he had between being the head coach of the Los Angeles Dodgers for quite some time and then being the Miami Marlins manager, bench coach for the Blue Jays up until last season, until going ahead and being a manager here for the Philadelphia Phillies. So we'll see what happens now that Mattingly is at the helm for the Phils, along with Alex Cora. What happens to him next? Does he slide in to a coaching role halfway through this season, or do you think he just kind of stays put? I know that there was a lot of upset players and a lot of people upset within that franchise, that Cora, and that basically his entire staff was let go. So, I mean, I don't know Alex Cora personally. I've never met the guy. I don't have a ton of sympathy for him, considering, you know, his actions with the Houston Astros and then the Boston Red Sox. But still, pretty big news coming out of the MLB today with Thompson no longer being at the helm. Pretty big series tonight in basketball. We can have some series end tonight in the first round. Really, the only exciting thing it seems like that is going to happen is the Orlando Magic potentially upsetting the Detroit Pistons, where they are playing for Mosley, man. That team, you could see it when they were playing for him in the Charlotte Hornets game to get them to the playoffs. It was pretty clear that team was playing and that assistant coaching staff was in on it for him to keep his job. They're playing hard. They're up 3-1 against the Detroit Pistons. What did we talk about at the beginning of the postseason? Josh Hudson, I hated the storylines or the narratives that young teams can't win in the NBA playoffs, yet it seems like they always seem to be true. And the more experience you have, the better off you are. Seems like the Pistons definitely taking that on the chin as they're down 3-1 to the Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic. So 2 series, though, could end tonight in the NBA. Your Celtics going to do it?
Yeah, tonight feels like the night. The Sixers don't strike me as a team that have a lot of fight in them.
No. And Portland was up big in that first half against San Antonio. And I was thinking, whoa,
yeah,
here we go.
What do we got going
Like,
on
this
here?
is interesting.
Uh-huh.
Like, are we going to have a repeat of when the Memphis Grizzlies as an 8 seed defeated the San Antonio Spurs all those years ago? Are we going to have that as Portland as a 7 seed defeating San Antonio as a 2 seed? No. San Antonio just put the foot on the gas pedal and ended up closing out game 4 pretty handily in Portland, back in San Antonio tonight. So that should be all wrapped up. And obviously the main event on NBC, the New York Knicks taking on the Atlanta Hawks in the Garden. God, I hope Atlanta wins tonight. CJ McCollum, I feel like we're not talking about McCollum enough and everything that this renaissance that he's happening late in his career. It seemed like his best seasons were behind him, especially when he got shipped off to New Orleans. I mean, we all remember McCollum being the right-hand man to Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers. And those Trailblazers teams that they were competitive. If you remember those teams, Al-Farouq Aminu, Mo Harkless, Nurkic was on those teams, along with Lillard in his prime. CJ McCollum had a couple decent years out of Zach Collins. I think Collins was the year that they went to the conference finals. But they always got stood up by a team that was just better than them. They just always were there, and they always were super competitive, but they just never had enough juice to do it. But McCollum kind of rewriting a little bit of his career here with the great play that he's displayed in this first round. Deja vu for the Knicks tonight. Will CJ McCollum have an incredible performance and will bow in front of the crowd just like Trae Young did as an Atlanta Hawk a couple of seasons ago? We will see. But the last 2 days, I have watched movies. Shocking, by the way, for a lot of people out there. Reservoir Dogs, good. Sixth Sense, even better. I will not be watching a movie tonight because I will be watching Minnesota versus Dallas in Dallas. 2-2 series in the first round of the hockey, the Stanley Cup playoffs. I have an issue. Can I bitch and moan, please?
Please.
This game's on ESPN too.
The Deuce.
This should be a TNT game. I'm not as angry at ESPN like some people are. Some people are very upset with their hockey coverage and do not enjoy some of their announcers and their pregame and whatnot. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to realize that TNT's product is much better and higher quality and very more well thought out than ESPN's product when it comes to broadcasting the Stanley Cup playoffs. I understand that these decisions are made well in advance as well, but it's like this game being on ESPN2 while you have the 3-1 series of Buffalo and Boston and Anaheim and Edmonton going on TNT.
It's the middle game tonight.
I like McDonough. John Bucci-Grouse is rubbing people the wrong way. It's not the same as Doc Emmerich.
Well, nothing is going.
Can we call Doc and have him do an open for the Battle of Pennsylvania?
I'm sure he would if called upon.
Live in Pennsylvania. These two teams who share a border. Score! It's just not the same. It's terrible. I have a terrible Doc Emmerich.
As blue collar can be.
37 Bridge spans the state of Pennsylvania and connect these two great cities, American staples, together. But we can tell you no water flows under them as the Pittsburgh Penguins take on the Philadelphia Flyers. Live from San Jose, as Patrick Marleau, Joe Pavelski, and Joe Thornton all look to overcome the defending Stanley Cup champion, Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane. Outside drive, shoot, scores! It's terrible. It's the worst impression you'll ever hear. You have a headache listening to it.
But you're committed to it. You are
Man,
in.
Well, doing a Doc Emmerich is just having that classic like New Hampshire East Coast accent while just being just screamy. No one better than him. No one better than him. Especially, I do like Sean McDonough though. What I like better than Sean McDonough though is Jason Benetti doing Sean McDonough. That's probably.
Oh, okay.
Bet 365. That's a funny video if you haven't checked it out of Jason Benetti doing impressions. Anaheim and Edmonton tonight. I'm taking Edmonton tonight, and that series is going to 7. Mark it down. Write that down. And wait for a second, because coming up next, we tell you what to watch tonight and the dog of the day as we wrap up Middays with Matt here on 1620 The Zone. fun on the Zone Twitter feed, which is powered by Liquid Trucking, where now we are just. Why does John Bishop refuse to quote tweet things?
I believe that particular person he has blocked.
I thought it was John being an old man and doing old man
don't
things.
think that's the reason, although I understand why you would immediately go there.
Well, I think John is the type of guy too, where he likes he likes doing that type of stuff.
Leans into it a little bit.
I think he leans into it the perfect amount.
Yeah.
Tell us the perfect amount of viewing of things we'll be doing tonight, Josh Johnson. Matt McSegway.
NBA playoffs tonight, Sixers, Celtics. It's a closeout game for Boston, 6 o'clock on ESPN. Hawks and Knicks at 7. On NBC, a pivotal Game 5. I'm sure they'll tell you the number of times a team that has won the series when they win Game 5, and the series is tied at 2. Blazers, Spurs, 8:30 tonight on ESPN. Also a closeout game for the Fighting Wembies. NHL playoffs, Bruins, Sabres, 6:30 on TNT. Buffalo up 3-1 in that one. Game 5 between the Wild and the Stars, 7 o'clock, sadly, on ESPN2 tonight.
So dumb.
And then 9 o'clock on TNT, the Ducks look to close out the Oilers. They're up 3-1. Major League Baseball, Tigers and the Braves, 6 o'clock on TBS as God intended. And then college baseball, North Dakota State taking on Creighton right now. Not going great for the Blue Jays. They trail 10-4 in the top of the 8th.
Oh, on Kids Day?
On Kids Day,
Damn
they
it.
disappointed all those children. K-State and number 16, Nebraska tonight, 6 o'clock on Big Ten Plus. And if you're kind of beginning to wonder who's coming to Omaha and you want to do a little scouting, number 9, Coastal Carolina is taking on number 2, North Carolina, 6 o'clock tonight on ACC Network, Matt.
I'm starting to think that if the Derby's pace is honest, if it's not overly fast, that Renegade isn't going to have a very good shot at winning this thing.
I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, I bid you further adieu.
All right, folks, let's talk right now. I'm going to kill your bookmaker. I'm going to rip his throat out. I will blow this man out. I will step on his throat until the man chokes. Let me tell you how. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. I'm on a roll.
Dude, you got to love dogs, right?
You know, I kind of spoiled it.
12-4 Bison now.
I kind of did spoil that. I was going to do the Edmonton Oilers to win, but they're favorites tonight. They're minus 162 to win. So I can't bet
that's not a dog.
But you know who is a dog? The Minnesota Twins taking on the struggling, underperforming Seattle Mariners. I'll take the Twins guy, who aren't very good, but they could be a lot worse. They could be the Philadelphia Phillies.
Or the New York Mets.
Or the Boston Red Sox.
So many teams they could be.
Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Beautiful. I love the Mets being bad. Just it warms my heart.
I love that you love it.
I
love it.
I can't stand them. And I hope we warmed your heart today here on Middays. Matt, I hope you enjoyed the show. We definitely did. We had a great time. We'll see you tomorrow here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network, USC and the Crossover coming up next.